Defining Duke is brought to you by Manscaped. And can I get a round of applause, everyone? Because today, I'm excited to announce that Manscaped launched their Ultra Premium Collection. Believe it or not, it's for your not-so-private parts. I'm talking about a leveled-up hygiene routine with your favorite manly scent. This is your all-in-one skin and hair care kit for the everyday man and covers you from head to toe, literally. Manscaped is trusted below the waist. Now trust them with the rest. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code DUKE. Manscaped has really been a game changer for my grooming routine. I personally want to shout out the Manscaped Body Wash. This comes with the Ultra Premium Collection, and as someone with dry skin, I gotta say that the infused aloe vera and sea salt mixture here is much appreciated in keeping my skin hydrated. So if you're interested in all of that, why don't you head over to manscaped.com. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code DUKE at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with code DUKE at manscaped.com. The power of attraction is now in a bottle thanks to Manscaped. Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here, and welcome to episode 59 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Today, I'm joined by Platinum Lover himself, Lord Cognito. You are mighty dressed for the occasion this week.
Very dressed, very pristine for it.
Yes.
Feeling platinum today, man. No silver, no gold. I'm feeling platinum. What's going on, Maddie, man? Back for the Dukes. Another one, another great episode, some great topics lined up. I'm ready. Let's do it, man.
Yes, we have a diverse range. I'm doing well. I was telling you before this that I was eating my dinner and I forgot a fork. And I'm telling this story because I think with our recent escapades with the onion sandwich eaters on our show, I had to share that I had to eat chicken that was microwaved today without a fork. I had to use a knife. So I was stabbing the chicken and eating it. And by the way, since I didn't have a fork, I had a dip cup with a little bit of jalapeno sauce in there. And so I had to lick from the cup after I took a bite of the chicken. It was next level savagery. So I'm feeling pretty loose right now.
Pure savage. You borderlines medieval times, you're borderline there because medieval times you just get the hands on the food and you just,
That's
whatever.
Wrong nowadays.
So now you just knifing it and see what you're doing.
Yeah. But, otherwise doing well, and how are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Last week was absolutely nuts, so I am happy that this week is not, and finally kind of assimilating and trying to catch up on news and stuff. But it's just been a busy time, man. It's just been a busy time, but
it has.
Hopefully now slowing down a little bit. And then obviously we'll talk about February though with these games.
Well, at this rate, next week Xbox will be buying PlatinumGames, so we'll don't be too expecting of a nice smooth time. I think things are going to ramp up quickly. Maybe not in that direction, but we got games like Horizon, Elden Ring, Elix 2, et cetera, coming out. So for those of you who are new here, welcome one, welcome all. If you're interested in supporting our show and writing in, we're available on patreon.com/laststandmedia, the largest gaming nerd-centric Patreon. Happy to be a part of it. So you can get early access for our show every Thursday, but we're just trying to grow this audience. So listen for free if you'd like. Apple, Google Podcasts. We're available on YouTube. Anywhere you can get podcasts, you can listen to us. But if you are a patron, you get Defining Duke Ultimate. We always pimp this one out. And last week was no exception of another great episode. Not because Cog and I were on it, but we talked about something that's made the rounds a little bit in passing conversation. We said this is time for a deep dive. And we talked about what I called the true competition with Amazon, Apple, Google, kind of lurking around the gaming space and analyzing what they've been up to lately, where Xbox has been pretty clear, like, we don't really view PlayStation as the current threat. And people thought Phil was out of pocket for that one. But now it's looking like with Amazon's recent moves and their success of Lost Ark that we should take another look at things. So that's what we did in that episode. And Cog, I mean, you were the main promoter of Defining Duke Ultimate. How'd you feel about the episode?
I really enjoyed it. I cannot stress to the community enough Get on
They're coming
Defying
around.
Duke Ultimate,
They're
man.
coming around.
They're coming around. I did see some tweets that were like, yo, you guys been hyping it, and I subbed and I watched it. Yeah, we delivered. So yeah, this was another one, and it just goes to show you some of the causality and stuff that's going on, especially with consolidation and what could result of it, and other threats looming. And we got a nice little thumbnail for you guys too, little Light Walkers, Game of Thrones action.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like you got to listen just for that alone. No, it was good. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Well, now let's get into what's happening this week. Just a couple of little tidbits to clean up before we begin. RPG Time Legend of Right is finally releasing March 10th, 2022. This is a pen and paper art style RPG that was announced many years ago on the Xbox stage. It's releasing exclusively for the console and PC. And it looks awesome. I just wanted to point people in the direction of this game. Little trailers out there. Check it out if you missed it, because some people may have forgot about this game, but I want to say this was announced like 3-4 years ago. Like, it's been a while, and now it's finally coming around. I'm very excited to play this one. So March 10th, 2022, RPG Time Legend of Right. Did you take a chance to check out the trailer for this?
Did not see the trailer, but everyone has been waiting for it. I'm gonna actually look at it right now while I'm scrolling in. But I've heard about this one for a while. I did hear about this one for so yeah, people it's anticipated. And if Maddie's like it, I gotta see what's going on.
Oh, I'm honored. Other news: Netflix is partnering with Take-Two on a BioShock movie, and the Uncharted director's next project is Jak and Daxter. Ah, man, I don't know how to feel about either of these. Netflix has kind of been on a roll. They've been doing really well with these video game adaptations and tie-ins. So I'm less worried about BioShock, believe it or not. But Uncharted apparently was terrible. And when you listen to some of what like Tom Holland was saying about like his muscles bulging, and I'm like, that's not Nathan Drake. What are you talking about, man? Now they're all moving on together to Jak and Daxter and Tom Holland. I love Tom Holland, by the way, but he's saying like he wants to play as Jak. I'm thinking like, dude, come on, man. Come on,
he's involved with all the Sony stuff.
Just stop, man.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm with you, man. Like, BioShock makes sense. The only thing is I hear Levine's involvement is not there.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I am got my eye open. Got my eye just to see.
We need our auteur on.
Yeah, you need that. But Jak, I don't want to hate on. I mean, if they Pixar it, it could be kind of fun. But
just beat the goddamn game, man. Like, that's all I gotta say. Where's Sly Cooper? That's also what I gotta say.
Fair enough.
No, but in all seriousness, I will keep an open mind here. I'm like, why aren't we making a Jak and Daxter game first? Are we testing the waters?
Maybe it's some water test. Maybe you do the remake in conjunction with a movie release, build up the base, build up the anticipation. Get the marketing team might be working on something.
Yeah. Not how I'd run PlayStation, but that's why I'm not there. All right, let's hear from Brett Lindstrom, who writes in, "Sup, boys? Wanted to ask you guys what you think personally of a potential third voice on the podcast. My favorite episode of Defining Duke was the one with Carrick, Cog as a guest at the time, and Maddie. 3 different great personalities that meshed very well together. Someone who reminds me a lot of Carrick is King David, who killed it on DDU. He's loud and proud like Carrick, but unlike Carrick, he's primarily an Xbox guy through and through. I think it'd be awesome to include him on the pod, and it would supply something I think the show is missing. Someone who truly bleeds green and isn't afraid to show it, similar to Colin with PlayStation. What do you guys think? P.S. I hope this doesn't come off as me not liking what you guys are doing currently. That's totally not the case. You guys continue to be on fire every week and keep me looking forward to Thursdays. Have a semi-decent day." I picked this one out, Cog, because I wanted to talk very transparently with the audience. We haven't really had a nice sit down with them to, I guess, talk the status of the show. And I know for the listeners, the numbers don't really matter and the quality of the product does. But I really wanted to kind of go over this with this being a question posed by someone, because my original game plan when we started the show was it was me and Carrick. And when I was eyeing down Cog after I joined ILP, and I was like, all right, let's bring him in on a guest. I told Carrick, I was like, I wanted to be our third. And that was the original plan. It was going to be me, Carrick, Cog. That's what I wanted, was the trifecta. Obviously, things changed. Carrick left the show. Cog came in, and we had to reestablish this whole new dynamic. And I think the show is in a way better spot now. But the reason I say we got to get real with the audience is I noticed, when Carrick left, I got to be transparent. The numbers dropped. You could tell by my tone at times in the show. I took it personally. I definitely took it personally because, I put my heart and soul to everything I work on.
You do.
And I'm not making it like a one-man thing, Cog. You put your all into this too.
Of course.
But, you know, I definitely took it on a level of like, oh, so we were listening for one person kind of like, okay. And, you know, it's entitlement.
Did you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I took this.
It really was that kind of thing, though. And I was thinking like, okay, we got to make this show as competitive as possible, as interesting to listen to. But I didn't want to rush things because I agree with Brett that, and I think you do agree too, that we do need a third host eventually. It's not something we're not going to do. It's just, after we had a change in host so early in the show's life, I do not want to rush the process. And I want to make sure the person we get is not only obviously an excellent fit, but obviously like a statement. Yeah. Like it puts us big time on the map and really shows people what our show is all about, because I think you're very legitimized, Cog, in the space. I think I am on a YouTube front. I think on the industry level, though, like my prove it moment might be when my game releases. Like that's how I view it. Right now, I'm just a 26-year-old who likes to talk games, and I don't have like the credentials of Colin or yourself. So I respect it. I understand it. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's like, well, you can't hustle that process. So, you know, it's something that I'm aware of personally as the person who tries to manage the show on top of writing it and everything. But I want to make sure the audience knows that a third host is something we're going to try to do eventually. It's just a matter of when and who. And if that fit comes sooner, then it's like, yeah, let's do it up. But it's not something we want to rush.
No, absolutely. And I appreciate the transparency with the audience, because they definitely, you know, it was a question that came up, and you said it best. You know, obviously I came in trying to just fit, you know, as best as I can. Initially, what the initial plan was supposed to be, you know, the trifecta. So, yeah, you know, look, I have no problem with it. You know, I'm trying to improve this thing, make the Dukes the best we could possibly be. And of course, Brett, of course I'm going to bias the King. That's all you're going to ask me, King. Like, of course not. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, it's a group decision. And hey, if that works, great. Or we find something else that works, great. Like, I'm all for it. Cog's a team player. Let's make this thing great. And I think when you get that third personality, also, you get other ideas and stuff that bounces off and organically make the show better. And I think I think what you said was great, is that we had to find our chemistry, right? We now getting in pocket and stuff like that. And then, you know, as it evolves, it'll go to that. So yeah, I'm for it either way, man.
Absolutely. And to make it clear, not to get all businessy, but Colin is not holding us back at all, like monetarily. Yeah. He's always said, whoever you want, whoever you need. So I want to make it clear that we do have the power to go get someone. It's just a matter of like not rushing it. I feel like Xbox right now. It's quite fitting. You know, we're going to make an acquisition eventually. We just don't know when. It's a matter of when.
Okay, I'll see what it is. I'll see.
But thank you for writing in, Brett, and paying attention on a different level to our show. We certainly appreciate that. To anyone else who feels that way. Let's change gears now. That was a little too serious for my liking. Let's talk to Alfred Hitchcock, who writes in, "Hey, Dukes. A small piece of trivia on the onion sandwich saga. Writer Ernest Hemingway was said to be a fan of peanut butter and O's, peanut butter and onion sandwiches. He referred to it as, quote, one of the highest points in the sandwich maker's art. We call it the Mount Everest special for commanders only, end quote. Straight from the mouth of one of the USA's finest authors. I say if this episode of Defining Duke gets 1K likes on YouTube, both of the Dukes chow down on the Mount Everest special live on stream and earn their right to become commanders. Just got a Series X, my first Xbox ever. Love the show. Have a peanut butter and onion breath kind of day. Are you down for this? I think like 1K likes, that'd be like a record on the LSM channel in the first place. But
that is true.
Would you put the peanut butter onion sandwich in your mouth in the intro of our show if we could hit that?
Alfred Hitchcock doing too much right now. All right. For the show, I do it.
Me too.
For the show.
Curiosity as well.
Just if they really about that life, I need to see. You know what I mean? But man,
I just ate chicken off a knife, so I can do anything now.
Listen, I can do it. I can try it. Don't mean I gotta finish it.
Yeah, that's true. We don't gotta like it. We don't gotta eat the whole thing.
Exactly.
So yeah, you want to get us up to 1K likes. By the way, for those who don't know, as someone who's a YouTuber, the likes really don't do much. It's just kind of like a show of appreciation. Sharing it though, if you guys do 1,000 shares, that's a different story.
That's a different beast right there.
But we'll take 1K likes for a Mount Everest, please. Sounds sexual. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about what we're playing here. Like, quite the variety of titles here, Cog. I want to dish it to you because you're playing a certain game that did it finally break you?
You see this brand new game that came out this week?
Yeah.
Yo,
It's a little bit of a surprise
Cyberpunk launched this week. It was the first time ever seeing it. I didn't even know this game came out, man. Yeah. Let me stop. Yeah. But yeah, that was the joke. I was not going to play it until, this moment arrived. It kind of stealth dropped on us, right?
You stay strong. I admire that.
Don't trust me. I mean, I did, full disclosure, I did launch it back then. And then as everything kept coming in, I'm like, oh, no. Once this thing, I'm going to do it. Don't scar my baby. Like because I had my appreciation was very high. I was ready for this game, anticipation. So I just didn't want to see it disfigured. What's the old Godfather reference? Look what they did to my boy. Yeah, like I didn't want to see it like that. So I was just like, okay, cool. Now we jumped in, next gen update, you know what I'm saying? At least we got our performance. We got ray tracing if you want to do the 4K 30, you know what I'm saying? But for me, I like that one mirror inside the home. You know what I mean? You got your different play things that you can pick from that. They respect a lot of stuff as far as skills and stuff like that, what I thought was cool. The random gun shop thing, I thought was cool. But my thing off the rip from the fidelity standpoint, I'm like, okay, I am seeing a little bit of a difference here. And the main thing I noticed was like just crowd reaction. And like, they're not like before they would just hover, you know what I'm saying? Stay still. Now they'll move around. Like, is it perfect? No. But it is vastly improved. So salute to them. I'm going to continue my quest, remake my V, get my street thug on. You know what I'm saying? So doing that, messing around with different things. So I like that. Witch Queen approaches, bro. It's Destiny season. They dropped the last story content beat before the season. It's literally the lead up. And a lot of basically this is going to be Avengers Endgame for all the Destiny characters. So a major plot reveal happened with Sabathun and the Witch Queen. She is now revealed. It now leads into the saga. So I'm ready, man. I'm running my raids. I am like, basically, I am in prep mode for any kind of build, because what happens is when Destiny launches, you've got a week until the new raid comes out, about a week and a half. And you got to get your light up and get ready. And the raid is what I live for. So everyone's like, yo, who's on that day one raid team? Who's going to be on that? So that's what we're prepping for. So it's all about that. Still rocking with Sifu a little bit. It'll get you to touch as much as I want. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still rocking on that. And then, bro, Demio is still out here, man. Nice. Demio is still out here. I beat my second dungeon. Basically, it's called the first one's called the Black Sarcophagus. And it's basically how it works is 3 levels. And the first level, kind of medium energy, like enemies, stuff like that. But the second, you really got to work together as a team. So they got a new class. They got the Bard class. So he's doing support buffs. So one of my friends, Kaibatsu, he's the Bard. He's doing support buffs. Then we got our Archer. We're shooting poison arrows. We're doing DPS on bosses. So it's crazy. Like it's such a good game, man. So be on the lookout for, I think IOP, we're going to do something with them. And they are doing a Steam release. And I'm going to try to put the pressure on them. But console brothers need to get a part of this. They need to get a part of this. So that's what it's been for me. Those have been the games.
Nice. So I got a nice diversity of JRPGs here, none on Xbox. I've been playing Final Fantasy VI Advance.
What's may come as about?
Yeah, right. This is the product of Retro Rebound growing, and I feel great about it. So I can start really investing time fully into games and completing them that are older because the channel is doing so well. And that makes me really happy because I like to dip back in these older games. So these Final Fantasy videos on Retro Rebound have just like popped off. And I was like, I love Final Fantasy. Let's keep going. So I've been diving into the catalog of titles I missed. Final Fantasy VI is one that I've heard raved about a ton next to Final Fantasy X. Since Pixel Remaster is coming out shortly, but with stuff like Elden Ring, this Cyberpunk update looming around, I was like, you know what? I got to get busy nice and early. So I already own this game on my Game Boy Advance. So I've been playing on that, man. I love my Game Boy Advance SP. I've been going back to the OG.
You took it back to the Advance?
Yeah, I did. So it's been great. This game is very dark, especially for its time. Very dark. A game about war, rebuilding hope. I really liked a lot of the themes it touched on, and its characters are great because you never can really identify who's the main character. I'll have a ton more thoughts on Retro Rebound, but I'm liking it a lot, and I'm 25 hours in.
Nice.
I finished Trails in the Sky second chapter for all my Trails lovers out there. It is complete. Oh my God, the second half of this game. So good. Some of the best shit I've played in a while. Like, it is really good. It's not for everybody. I can say that right now, because what Trails always does as a series is they spend the first game building up the lore, building up the characters. I don't think a lot really happens. It demands a lot of your patience, but every time in these duologies, these trilogies that they do for these games, the second game, it's ground running, you're off to the races, stuff's happening right away because they don't need to explain anything to you.
Nice.
So the second game is phenomenal, especially the second half. Really, really dug it. So shout out to that one. And when I got a little minute or two, I've been firing up Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Here you go.
Yeah. This has been great. I can't say enough how pleased I am with this game as someone who's just tired of Pokemon. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, you kind of tired of it. That's why I was surprised by this.
Yeah, I've just been coming back to it consistently. Just, I like exploring. I love the loop because it's the same exact pillars of explore, catch, battle that we've seen in every entry, but just the way you approach them is different enough that it works. It's like, oh, we're in an open world area now, so exploring is more fun. Catching isn't this engage in battle, weaken them, use a status effect, throw the particular Pokeball. It's like, no, it's you can sneak up on them. There's like a trick if you backstrike them and you hit them while they're not looking, you have a better chance to catch them. So there's stealth elements. It's not amazing compared to other games, but in the Pokemon series, it's gold right now. So I've been really enjoying it as a longtime fan who fell out of love with the series, and probably gonna be putting that down for a little bit because I'm about to give you be a little bit busy with something else. But we'll talk on that later. Mm-hmm. So for now, let's get into our warm-up questions. Cog, this one's for you about me. Comes from Rio Radic. I saw this one and I was like, I'm not gonna overdress for the occasion. I'm just gonna arrive as is, as natural as possible. Hey, Mayo Monkey Maddie and Cracker Cog. This one is more so for Maddie, but I feel like Cog can help him out here in this area too. What's up with the fashion choices as of late? Maddie, I know you want to pull out the modest guy persona, but we know you. We know deep down inside you want to rock the Gucci or the Balenciaga. I don't know what that word is.
The Balenciagas.
What is that? What is that? Like,
that's high balling quality. There. Balenciaga?
Okay. No idea. But anyway, the Balenciaga, when you appear on the podcast or your own videos. So why not flex? Instead of wearing those clothes that are a mix of Hot Topic and Gap, maybe you should try wearing brands like Louis Vuitton, Prada, Burberry, etc. You deserve to flex on everyone. I'd also like to hear what Cog thinks of Maddie's current fashion choices right now, and if he should start wearing more designer brands to truly stand out from the competition. By the way, Maddie, I'm just busting your balls here, but consider wearing a Rolex at least on one episode. We need to see you in some drip for real. Anyways, loving the pod. The Dukes are great. Hope you have a Why Are Boomers performing at the Super Bowl kind of day. I kind of like the Super Bowl performance this year. I don't know if people didn't like it, but I enjoyed it.
I loved it. It was for me.
I thought it was great.
That was the mixtape to my life.
Right. That's what I grew up with.
I grew up with all that, so it was good. All right, first off,
I'm going to step back. Just a nice...
All right, so right now my man got the Purdue on. See, I'm biased because I got friends that are Boilermakers, and Purdue gear, sports gear, is official. First of all, Maddie gets all the love from me because I'm also a sports guy, drip guy as well. Yeah. So when I see him bust out the little Mets joint, when he got his Rangers on, he got a Boilermaker joint. I'm about that. I like sports drip. So that's off rip. Now, you a little extra radical. Why he got to have Balenciaga, Gucci, Burberry? Like, what are we doing? Like, now, I will say what is funny, though.
Okay.
Maddie, your videos are, I got to give you credit. Your videos are mad entertaining when you do your little skits and you dress up. I ain't going to front. Your dress up skits, fire. But like, I always laugh because your personality shows, you silly with it. So I go for like, bougie drip Maddie would be funny for a video.
But it wouldn't be if I just showed up dead serious.
No. That's where I'm at it. But I mean, look, man, at the end of the day, if the man is comfortable, that's all that matters, right? Like, why we gotta have...
I don't know. Radic might be displeased because, like, you know what I've been toying with? And this is going to sound wild, but like, I've always liked accessories growing up. I like rings, earrings. I always liked that stuff, but I never did out of respect for the rents. But this year's move out year, and I've been toying with the idea of a couple rings, an ear piercing.
Oh, we doing it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've been thinking about it.
Wow, we did wow.
Yeah, not like loud. I'm not gonna have like a huge gauge in my ear or something like that. That's not what I'm going for. No disrespect to anyone who has it. That's just not what I'm doing with my body. But that's where I was heading. And to see Radix say like I should be wearing Gucci or Balan Wonderworld shit. I don't know.
Balenciaga, continue. Balan Wonderworld.
He's gonna be disappointed if I show up with like Tanjiro earrings and
yes.
I go all anime weeby, but that's what I was looking to do, Radix. So hopefully we can appreciate that. Probably get roasted on that change. That's okay, but it's something I'm toying with. I'm at least going to try it out, see how I feel. But thank you, Cog, for the glowing review on my fashion getup.
Sports drip. I'm biased. I love sports drip. I love it. Sports drip and geek drip. It's
just
all day.
We game a lot, right? We sit around a lot in podcasts, like the dry fit life. You gotta wear it, bro. It's breathable clothing. You're not sweat while you're podcasting.
Thank you. The dry wick, I'm glad you said it. The Airwick stuff is so comfortable. It doesn't like squeeze on you. And then, like you said, if you sweat, the worst thing is wearing and you sweat. You got the sweat marks and bro. You don't want to be that gamer.
No, you don't.
You coming from my man. My man got the comfortable dry fit. All that. That's what you got to do, man. You got to be comfortable. You can't be looking crazy out here.
My girlfriend always grills me though. I wear way too much Gymshark. They're like sweatpants. I'm addicted to them.
Because it's comfortable. I'm the same way, bro.
I'm all about comfort over style. Always have it. Defining Duke is brought to you by Manscaped. And can I get a round of applause, everyone? Because today, I'm excited to announce that Manscaped launched their Ultra Premium Collection. Believe it or not, it's for your not-so-private parts. I'm talking about a leveled-up hygiene routine with your favorite manly scent. This is your all-in-one skin and hair care kit for the everyday man and covers you from head to toe, literally. Manscaped is trusted below the waist. Now trust them with the rest. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code DUKE. Now, we all know how essential Manscaped's Lawnmower 4.0 is for that below-the-belt trim, right? Mr. Bushy plays who? That lifestyle is behind me. Manscaped has really been a game changer for my grooming routine. I personally want to shout out the Manscaped Body Wash. This comes with the Ultra Premium Collection, and as someone with dry skin, I gotta say that the infused aloe vera and sea salt mixture here is much appreciated in keeping my skin hydrated. But now you can enhance your perfect grooming routine with their Ultra Premium Collection, including the Manscaped Premium Deodorant, Hydrating Body Spray, the Body Wash, the 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, plus a free gift, a 3-pack set of lip balm. That's 4 products plus a gift inside the Ultra Premium Collection. So if you're interested in all of that, why don't you head over to manscaped.com. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code DUKE at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with code DUKE at manscaped.com. The power of attraction is now in a bottle thanks to Manscaped. All right, let's talk to Simon C. First, apologies to Cog, but I need to set Mr. Matty off on a classic rant. Now, this was a game I did play this week, but I saved it for this question here.
Let's get it.
Last Thursday, I was shouting as I listened to the Dukes. Where's the marketing for CrossfireX, you asked? Because I shouted back, Big Phil was keeping that marketing bag due to the game being a POS trash bag. Now, I can list the many, many problems on this cash grab from 2001, but that would reduce the incoming rant. Mr. Matty, do your thing. I hope you have a I need to spend some time and money on this game type of day. Did you, Cog, did you get involved with CrossfireX this past week when it came out?
I gotta give a shout out to one of my co-hosts. It's my boy Travis Northup, who works for IGN.
Yeah, I saw his
review. He's on the last word. And yeah, he had things to say about this game. I believe was it a 4? I believe he may have given it a 4.
I think it's 3. I think it was a 3.
Excuse me. Yes, a 3. And look, we felt it. We felt it, man. We called it. We were like,
in the air.
We was like, this is weird, because the way they had their chest out when the game was first announced, we were like, okay, all right. Xbox got a little exclusive. Plus, we hear Remedy's doing the campaign, and they got this might be something. And then radio silence. And then we're like, hold up, it launches tomorrow?
Yeah.
And we're like, where's the marketing? Yeah, like Simon, everybody knew what it was. The question was going to be, how bad was it? And this I didn't expect, to the point where the developer had to come out and make a statement. We apologize for the,
I didn't see that part.
Yes, they had to make for the condition of the game, and fixes are on the way, and it's a mess. And it was so bad. Like when I spoke to Trav, and I'm like, "Yo, what's the word?" It's like, bro, this is the most terrible, non-functioning. He had UI issues. He had just awful, ridiculous. Like, how did this get through? So Xbox, somebody had to know. Marketing kind of pulled back.
Oh, they knew. Did you see what happened with the Game Pass side of things?
I did not. Tell me.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. And I'll admit, it's speculation, but I think it's pretty well-founded. I've been a subscriber for Game Pass since it was announced, right? Same as you. They started doing these big day one drops with like third party the beginning of last year with Outriders. Since then, we have not seen one single game fail to drop day one on Game Pass. Something happened with CrossfireX where day one, that was day 4, that was not on Game Pass. I think it took almost a week for them to then get CrossfireX's campaign available on Game Pass. And I'm thinking they knew, because it wasn't even on the coming soon list. Like, it was just not there. So it wasn't like, oh, you're clicking on it, it's in the Game Pass library, but it's not letting you download it for free. It just wasn't there outright. And when you look at that, plus the marketing pullback, I strongly believe they knew, and they're like, this shit sucks, and we are keeping it off as long as we can. It just, to me, is what I read from it.
I mean, it's hard to disagree with your argument, right? I heard similar
theory, but
no, I heard similar things. I heard similar things like, yo, it was there, now it's not there. Where is it? I can't find it. Come on, like, this is a little too suspicious, you know.
Yeah.
And in turn, I guess I'm curious, like internally, like, what happened? They were just like, yo, this is not finished, or like,
Remedy got the bag. That's what happened.
Clearly, it's crazy, because I heard this game was like super popular. At least the multiplayer is super popular. You know what I'm saying? Oh, obviously, so yeah, not a good look.
Well, I had the opportunity to play it to completion, Cog. Would you like to know how that went?
Yes, please, do share.
This was one of the worst games I think I've played in not even I think, I know I've played in a while. One of the worst games of all time, for sure. Like, it was really, really bad, because it was a blending of broken aspects in a very mediocre, lacking ambition type game. And if you followed me for a while, you've heard me say this before, but like, what bothers me more than a game that's trying things and failing is a game that just doesn't try at all. It's very much safe, and it sucks for it in my eyes. It's very mediocre. So imagine that, the lack of ambition with something that's broken. So it's like, you couldn't even get the bare basics of like first person shooting gameplay right. All the guns feel the same, but the AI, Cog, it's some of the funniest shit I think I've ever seen. Like, you'll see like a soldier roll out from the corner, take a knee. He's like pulling out his gun, and he just sits there. He just sits there holding his gun. You're like, so this is all for show, right? You'll see in my video, like, a guy rolls from the corner. I come up to him. I'm just looking at him. I just knife him in the face after like 2 seconds. And
these, just in the pose?
Yeah, they're just waiting to be shot. Like, they that's all it is. They're waiting to be shot. And I don't think words ever do it enough. It's why in my review, I spoil the whole game, because I say, you're not going to play this shit. It's terrible. And you got to see for yourself just how bad this gets. Because the whole video is just them standing there. Just them standing there. And even if they do shoot back, let's say you duck behind cover, no exaggeration, 1 second, your health comes back full.
What?
Yes. So it's not remotely challenging, whatever difficulty you're playing on, based off the AI, your health regen. It's just horribly designed. And the story, oh my God.
Here we go.
I can't believe Remedy had any involvement in this, because they, at the bare minimum, are great, wacky storytellers, right? They make weird things. They make things interesting because they're so out of the box. And this game is so in the box. Like, it's trying to tell this story of a guy named Luis Torres, who's a man who got arrested for whatever reason, and in this cutscene, by the way, when he gets arrested, his hands are cuffed to a bar and the bus gets blown up. It flips over and there's a convenient lockpick on the ground that he clearly can't reach because his hands are cuffed. I showed this in my video as well. And he uses his foot apparently to drag the lockpick to himself, which again, his hands are cuffed up high. He could not reach it. Right. So the scene shows his foot going for the lockpick, cuts away to a soldier walking up, and then cuts back, and he's got the fucking lockpick in his hands. I was just like, yo, that's what I didn't like about this game. It thinks you're stupid. It thinks you're so dumb with its gameplay, with its story. So anyway, this guy, Luis Torres, has been viewed as the catalyst, right? I'm sorry, he's viewed by the catalyst as the Ghost. The Ghost is this war-changing soldier who puts on this armor and becomes the weapon. And like that's the one redeeming quality of the game, I'll say, is this idea of the catalyst, this man who has a brain who can see the future and determine the outcome of this war, this proxy war. It's kind of interesting on that front, but they never do anything with it at all. It's just like, oh, that idea is cool. And they built a whole game off of it. So this whole game, he's like, I'm not going to do that. He's cursing people out, by the way, like, F you, I'm done with your bullshit. Like just constantly cursing at people. And then suddenly an hour into the game, after telling the squad, like, we're not buddies, I'm not here to help you, I'm here for myself, I need to get out of here, I'm doing this because your boss put his words are sci-fi bullshit in me. One of your squad mates gets captured, and he sees that, go like a couple minutes later, he's all against it. A couple minutes later, he goes, I can't just leave him there to die. I got to save him. And just, it's this random pivot in the character. Makes no sense. So I'm sorry if I'm going on for a while, but ladies and gentlemen, you need to realize this game is nonsense from top to bottom, and it's broken. It's terrible. And then it just ends. It just ends. He becomes the Ghost. He becomes the Ghost out of nowhere. Like he just sees the armor. He smiles at it. Like he actually just smiles at it. And the next scene, he's in it and he's killing everybody. I'm like, what is happening here? Honestly, if anyone's interested, it's an 1.5-hour campaign.
That's it.
Yeah, an 1.5-hour campaign. If you have that time and you want to see for yourself, it might be hilarious for you. But there's no achievements either.
Oh, I was just about to ask you.
No achievements.
See, I was going to do it for the achievement.
No achievements. They give you weird multiplayer achievements. Like I killed 3 people and it's like 60 gamer score. And I go, oh, it's one of those games. You know, remember back then, Xbox 360 achievement hunters, and I know Randolph Thor will relate to this. The days where you're like working for that gamer score, and then there's that one game that gives you 7 gamer score, and you're like, you piece of crap. Why would you do that to my gamer score? Now I got a 5 at the end of it. Like, how could you do that? I don't want that. Yeah, so I'm just letting people know, stay far away from this, okay? Stay far away.
Yeah, I mean, it's very surprising that this happened to me. It's surprising it's as bad as it was. I thought it would be mediocre, right? Like, but not this. Like, this is just like, yo, this is a travesty kind of bad. The thing I just worry about is like, I wonder what happened if it was just a co-development thing because it was just too many chefs in the kitchen. Remedy, like, I'm very curious. Like, if there was ever an expose on the development of Crossfire, I want to know because this is wild to me.
Yeah, it's weird because it kind of mirrors a little bit of in a subtle way, not exactly, but it kind of reminded me of like the Initiative does this, and then Crystal Dynamics is doing that, and apparently we have certain affinity in the building now with Perfect Dark, right? I was thinking of that situation, and I was like, oh, is this how this could end up working out? I hope not, because it's a similar situation. Like Xbox is doing this, like they're helping market the thing in the West. Right. Remedy, a proven talent, is working on the campaign. That should be fine. It's a self-contained thing. And then you've got Smilegate, who worked on the multiplayer that was successful in other areas of the world, bringing it over here. This should work. Another thing I just want to note is the console port's terrible. Like, I'm not a big tech guru guy, but like the game is clearly mapped for sensitivities on PC because you are on a slip and slide when you're aiming. Like, you're going to overshoot anyone. In the multiplayer, in the campaign, it doesn't feel good. The UI, when you're exploring the menu, imagine if you had the Destiny cursor, but it was going like half the speed.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it is not optimized for consoles at all. Really bad.
Yeah, probably like a PC port that was just really bad.
Yeah.
Oh, there's CrossfireX.
Yep. So that's why, in answer to Brett's question last week about where the marketing was, now we know. Now we know. So let's just pay attention to those trends. We all learn together here. If Xbox ain't marketed it, be ready. Be ready. Okay, let's talk to Sean Mason, who writes in, hey, Dukes. Cyberpunk's stealth release of their new update was a nice surprise for those who were looking forward to finally checking it out. But why did they decide to drop it in February with 2 other Juggernaut open world titles in Elden Ring and Horizon releasing soon? Did CD Projekt Red hinder any chance at some sort of redemption? I really like this question because I dove in, I played the next gen update too to make a video on it. And I was like, I want to stay here. I want to play this, but Elden Ring and Horizon are right there. I can't replay it in full like I'd love to right now. I kind of agree. It's not the right time to do this. How do you feel about it as someone who's diving in for effectively the first time, really?
Yeah, I agree with Sean. I think that like, and you like, I didn't understand it, man. You know, it's just like, you're gonna get lost. You're gonna drown out here. I mean, you literally, the only thing I can think of is they probably said to themselves from a release cadence from patches that if they don't do it now, maybe, you know, they would have really got swam up. But the way I look at it is like, okay, even you have this week, right? Bro, it's over after this. Like, it's over. Like Horizon and Destiny and what you call Elden Ring, you are getting you're going to get forgotten. You know, you will not be remembered. And that's the sad part because it's like they really did a lot of updates. So, yeah, I think it's a tactical error. Me personally, I think it's a tactical error. You know, I would have waited. I think we said it. We had a Cyberpunk Defining Duke Ultimate where we talked about like, yo, maybe you guys wait, package it with substantial story and content. Because let's be real, for guys like you, you've already beat it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice experience, but could you imagine how much more fortified would it have been if you would have had like, new DLC content in area, whatever, of Night City, or, you know, these new characters and this new spin-off mission. Like, it would have been a nice little thing then. I felt would have had more meat to, okay, I got to play it because now there's really new content as opposed to this minimal stuff and predominantly next-gen updates and bug fixes. So,
yeah, I agree. And it's exactly that for people like me who have beat the game. I know that's not many in comparison to those who have skipped out on it, but I feel like their choice of a release window has led to a lot of people likely going, okay, this looks good. Now I know I do want to play it. I'm going to wait now for the other DLC. And that's what I've been seeing a lot of. I'm going to wait for the other DLC to come out. So when it's in a complete edition, then I'll play the game. So, maybe that's when they're waiting for Game Pass. I don't know. But I feel like that's the logical next step that they've just kind of been ignoring is to get players in the door if they're not going to see results here. But I do wish they released this at a time where it was less busy. But it might be something with optics. If they went dark for too long, then that's a whole other. We could easily have a write-in about that. I'm like, where's CD Projekt Red? Where's this update?
Yeah, didn't they say that? Yeah, it might just be from a target standpoint. Maybe it was just ready. They bite the bullet. They go now, and then when the content is actually ready, they just better hope it's not another month like February when you you put yourself in the middle of a crossfire. You know what I'm saying? But with the real heavy hitters, Elden Ring, like, bro, when Elden Ring and Horizon and Destiny hit, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
That's the thing. I'm sorry. I never mentioned Destiny because I don't play it, but like that's got to be respected.
It is insane what is happening. This is what happens every Destiny expansion. I always get my clan is full 100 deep, right? And what I end up doing, it's so bad that like when it gets close to the thing, I have to go, okay, who haven't been playing Destiny for like 3 months? And I have to literally, because I get an influx of people, we want to join the clan.
You're like the coach making cuts.
Yeah, so I'm like, all right, let's check your attendance record. Okay, you haven't been playing for 3 months. Sorry, you're out. These guys are hungry, and I get a lot of new guys. And then the thing what Destiny's doing, which they've been doing the last 2 expansions, I know I'm laughing. You laughing with the coach thing.
I'm thinking you just like run. You're the GM. You're the GM.
Yeah, I'm running. I'm be like, let me see. All right, Maddie, last logged in. Okay, like I'm doing that. You know what I'm saying? So basically, what happens now is the new people come in and they get excited because the hardcore guys, we've been grinding, right? But when the new expansion, it's a clean slate. Everybody gets bumped up to the same power level. So it makes the new guy say, okay, I don't feel behind. I'm going to be on the same level as you. And we're doing new content together. And once that happens on Destiny, everybody's playing. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a thing. So that's going to dominate. Like I'm telling you, and the story is fire. What they've been doing with the content has been fire. Like people are hyped. They're doing so many system updates. It's on, man. Trust me when I tell you, next week is going to be crazy.
I'm excited for you. And so And all in all, Sean, we agree that this may hinder a little bit of the redemption arc, but I do believe there's enough of desire from people like myself who do like the game to kind of champion it when it starts to get good like it is now. Because effectively, I know it's been a meme like, hey, you said it, Cog. Cyberpunk came out this week. This is kind of what the game should have been at launch. You can see it now in a lot of ways. Like even visually, I played it on my PC. It's got a 980 Ti and it was much better looking. Gorgeous. There was much more activity in the world space, like NCPD gang chases, way better. So it'll pick up steam over time. I always think of Control. I'm like, if Control can gain steam and get 10 plus million players and a ton more sales, I think Cyberpunk will be fine over time, but not the best release window. Anyway, let's move on to Nathan Sains. We're kind of hitting all gears here, Cog. We haven't gotten a question like this in a while, and I wanted to make sure Nathan's taken care of. Hey there, Double Duke dudes. Something came to my attention when I was at the gym the other day. I realized I was doing the chest day, that I might need to focus on legs a tad more. I was looking like a downward pointed triangle. I need you guys to be honest with me. How often are legs a priority during your routine? Are you guys still defining them dukes? Continue staying fit. Mental health is just as important as physical health. What do you guys do to de-stress? Eat good, look good, feel good. Have a finally coming to the realization that Larry the Lobster from SpongeBob is the epitome of the male physique kind of day. Hashtag health as well. That as a lifelong SpongeBob fan, it's like one of my favorite shows ever. I never realized that, and that's so true. That's so true.
So true. Yeah, it's a good question, Nathan. I mean, I love this type of stuff. So yeah, it's funny. I did leg day today. It's funny you said that. Yeah, you got to. Leg day is important 2 reasons. One, for balance, right? And a lot of guys we carry, I know myself, sometimes you get the little COVID belly sometimes, or you pack a little bit too much on. Manny, you ain't got to worry about this. Your metabolism is crazy. But for us older gents, that is a concern. What happens is when you're carrying all this top heavy weight, that gives you back problems, you know what I'm saying? And then also if your legs, are not strong, you want to have a good foundation. And last thing, again, for the older gents and younger gents, you want to do leg day because legs generate the most testosterone. So you're going to stimulate the most growth. That's going to help your gains. That's really going to help you. So you want to do that. And then even if you don't do leg day, when you're just doing cardio and stuff like that, or like what I'm doing now is like incline. It's called high interval training. So you do like 1 minute, like a regular pace, and then 1 minute like extreme at your max. So I'm doing like this high incline, almost like a speed run / walk. And it's intense. So I would say that. And to your point, Nathan, I love your point about eat good, look good, feel good. That's what I'm about. Like we talking about dry fits, right? We're talking about like, I like to feel good. So sometimes I reward myself, get me a little fresh drip, a new hat, or new, you know what I'm saying? Because I want to go to the gym and feel good. That makes me want to go work out because I want to show off what I got. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that is all key to the mental health. And like I always said, I think on a mailbag, when you start looking good and feeling better about yourself, and you seeing yourself improve, even if it's small, that all helps with the mental health. Because that's how depression, you're down on yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I love this question, but what are the type of things that you do, as far as, especially with leg day and stuff like that? Because I know you run and stuff.
Yeah. I, with leg day, it's usually twice a week for me. That typically is the bare minimum because I have very skinny legs and it's not like I want to really juice them up, but it's not even because I don't work them out. Like I always made it a priority because I always got called chicken legs. And if there was one bodily insult I got growing up that actually did bug me, it was that. Yes. I don't care anymore, but that was the one because I tried really hard. I'd be putting up weight at the gym, like leg pressing almost 400. And I'd be like, yo, my legs are fucking strong. What am I doing here? And people would be like, yo, what's up, chicken legs? I'm like, dude, I'd probably kick a hole through your chest. Like, what do you mean chicken legs? So yeah, it would bug me a lot. And I get the feeling, Nathan, just put the effort in, make sure you're calorie counting. If you're worried about the size, about the look, because things should proportion out properly as long as you're fueling your body right and doing the proper workouts. But yeah, at least twice a week for me. I will say sometimes I'll do it like once a week because if I'm going on a walk uphill, there's a lot of inclines in my area. It's not a leg day. Do not get it twisted, but
smart.
It is something that can keep the leg muscles active enough where if I were to go hit a leg day after, I wouldn't be able to give it that 100% they need. So just know there are other ways to go around it. Stairmaster, if you will. Yes, I don't use those. Good. But creativity makes leg day fun. And the other thing is the mentality of leg day. Look, I always think of it this way. Whenever I'm doing legs, think of when you're doing arms. You're doing your bicep curls and you could see your arms bulging. You're like, oh, one more. I want to get jacked. This shit's going to look good, right? No one does that with legs. No one does just one more with their legs. And when you start doing just one more with your legs, start getting that mindset, that routine, and just pretend you love leg day. Everyone hates leg day. There's no cheat to liking it. Everyone hates it. Just pretend you love it. Keep the same arms mentality for your legs. You'll be golden.
No, you're good. I want to jump in real quick because you're on fire. That is fantastic advice. And another thing is, like you said, like for the leg day, for me, it's all about music and a mentality. You know what I'm saying? To push through, like you're treating it like your arms, you're treating it, you have to treat it with the same thing. And the last thing I want to say, because I know we had the little chicken leg, and I felt that to the core, because that was me. I felt that. One thing I have to realize, though, because see, you said the key point. They calling you this, and they're calling me that when I was younger, but it's like, we moving just as much weight as everybody else, right? So what you're going to realize, a lot of this is genetics, man. Just physically as human beings, we are gifted in certain places and we are not in others. There are some people who do not run, play sports, and I see their calves and I'm like, bro, come on, man. Like, you got me mad. Like, that's my thing. Like, my thing is calves. I work them a lot. And that's, I'm envious of people.
Calves is so hard, man. Yeah, when I see someone flex their calves, I'm like, how do you even do that? I can't do that.
Remember, genetics. Now, for me, I don't have the calf stuff, but I've always had big, wide shoulders. Always. And people told me if I ever worked out when I was very skinny, like, yo, you're going to fill out because your shoulders are already a frame as well. So again, respect what you have. A lot of it is genetic. There's guys that just naturally have that stuff. And there's nothing you going to do necessarily unless you're not doing stuff naturally that's gonna make it that way. So just do it. Just stick with what you got, man. You'll be happy with what you got.
Absolutely. And on the mental front, for me, it was I put a lot of pressure on myself. So it was about releasing, and it was a challenge because a lot of it's work centric. I've been pretty clear with people that, like, last year I worked my ass off so hard that I sent myself to the hospital. Not good, right? And again, this is kind of a testament to why I took it personally when the show dipped a little bit, because I was like, yo, I put myself in the hospital for this. So it was tough, but not to make it about me. But yeah, this was something that I realized that was my wake up call coming into December when we were like prepping the Defining Duke stuff. I was like, all right, we got to change things a little bit here. And so a good example of that was when Xbox posted about the Activision update in their Microsoft blog post. They were like, yeah, we're going to, put these games on other platforms. We're not going to take them out. And normally that's a day and date video. Like, okay, this is huge. I need to get on this. But I had a doctor's appointment. And by the time I got home, I knew it'd be too late. And I was like, really fighting myself that day. But I was like, you got to let go. Let go. Come back tomorrow. Come back stronger. Focus on yourself. And so for me, that's what it was. It was just self-prioritization, because I never prioritize myself in any aspect of my life. It's always other people, what's easier for them, what's best for them. Not putting myself on a soapbox here because I'm not a perfect person, but
it's important.
But for me, it's about release and putting myself in first place in certain instances. Even if it's at the damage of my business, I trust my audience will be there if I miss a day.
I was proud of you because that was what I did. I try to suck it up and I do that crazy 6-hour podcast. I hit you. You were going to be on the show. And then I was so proud of you. You were like, Cog, I want to be there. You were like, I got a lot on my plate. I probably need to recharge my battery. I said, you know what? I respect that because you prioritized yourself and you shut things down. You let yourself recover and recuperate. That is more how it's live to fight another day. Because you'd be surprised. Young guys, heart problems, issues, high blood pressure. You got to take care of yourself big time. So I respected that.
Oh, one last thing, and then we'll move on.
Let's go.
Social media. Unplug if you can. Look, I do. It's a central point to my content. And I still unplug a lot. If you DM me on Twitter, you'll notice I hardly answer anyone. I apologize to those who listen, and I don't get back to you. It's just ever since I deleted Twitter off my phone at the end of last year, I remember, again, that was a release point for me. I was like, I always thought I need to be attached to this thing because who's going to hear of me and check out my content? My content's only grown a lot since then. So Retro Rebound, Defining Duke has grown. We've been doing better as of now. My Mr. Matty channel. So again, for me, it was like releasing things, but social media is so damaging. I was sizing myself up way too often, feeling like sometimes I had to post something when I didn't need to, just getting involved in shit that I didn't care about. It creates an unhealthy mindset, and just the detox alone has done me wonders. So I'm going to throw that out there as well, Nathan.
No, agreed. Good stuff.
All right, let's move on to Digitaco, who asks a question that, yes. Hey, Super Dookie Bros, knowing that Fallout 5 is most likely years away, it got me thinking, sure, a remake of Fallout 3 or New Vegas would be sweet, but the Series X already boosts frame rate, and they're still very playable. However, what do you think of a remake of Fallout 1 and or 2 in the newer 3D style of Bethesda Fallout games? I feel like this would make the older games much more approachable to new Fallout fans. Also, I feel like BGS wouldn't have to do it themselves since the storylines are already written. Is this a good idea? And how likely do you think it is that this would happen? Thank you, and I don't have enough room in my inventory for a Fat Man and rocket launcher kind of day. I think we've all been there. When you find the Fat Man, dude.
Yes, of course. Classic. This is you, man. This is you. Right. You have to jump this off.
I've always had this theory in my head that they won't make a new 3D Fallout game until Fallout 5 many years down the line. Like, that's my working theory in my head. And if they ever do that before then, I will lose my shit already. As if that's not to be expected. I agree with Digitaco's take on the Fallout 1 and 2 style remake. However, I don't know if they want to make this quickly. I think they should remake it in a style like Wasteland 3. I think
break this down.
I think the isometric RPG style should be retained for these games. Because look, I've been a long-standing member of the Fallout community, and I know you can't make the game based around them, but I'm just saying that there would be a lot of people who would be very displeased if they walked away from that isometric model for those games. There are mods that are in the Fallout community that do remake these games. Some of them are more complete than others, but you can kind of get a test of what that would of what that would be like. But I just think personally that either make another spinoff or Fallout 5 for the next 3D one. If you're going to go back, respect what's there, right? We wouldn't want them, because I think of it this way, right? A lot of us listening are Fallout 3 New Vegas fans. I wouldn't want them in a remake to drastically change what that game was and step away from the core DNA of Fallout 3 and New Vegas and making it something else. Like, let's go in reverse. They make it a tactical RPG instead overhead. I wouldn't like that. That's not the Fallout 3 I signed up for. So for Fallout 1 and 2, especially Fallout 2, if they brought that back, there's just so many choices that they did that in an open world. I think that game would break in half. So keep it isometric, keep it simple, remake it in that way. I'm for that personally. I don't think a lot of the Fallout fandom, a lot of the mainstream fans would be, but Fallout fans, they'd be pleased.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point because, you know, there is a core and where that came from. And I'm trying to think of other mainline series that the only one I can think of that departed from a genre standpoint was probably Grand Theft Auto, right? Because Grand Theft Auto, I think, debuted different, like a top down kind of thing. So I guess my curiosity would be for the Grand Theft Auto hardcore, if they were to remake the original, you know, would that, you know, how would people feel, right? Because we have to admit there's a big subsection that are the later Grand Theft Auto guys and the later Fallout guys, right? Who want this, and they're going to want it just like that, right? But then there is that original group who was there from day one when dudes wasn't there that liked it in that format, and they're going to be like, yo, just keep the essence of what that is, like you said, whether it be Wasteland style, isometric, or whatever it was, and then just play it with that in that sandbox. So I understand the purity argument. To me, it's a purity argument. I don't have a problem. Yes, I am leaning towards the second because I like it, but I wouldn't be mad if they go, yo, no, we're keeping it like this, but we're going to have more story beats, more connective threads to the new generation so you guys understand where this came from. And I'm like, yo, I'll try that. I'll play that. I want to see where this thing, what was the inspirations that birthed this other thing. So
of course.
I like that.
I would prioritize a 3D one as well. I'd like that personally more.
Selfishly.
But I just feel like they wouldn't do that until the next mainline entry. So it's like, well, then it's more likely in my head they would do this one. But maybe I'm wrong. That'd be great because then maybe they'll finally do the Vault Studio. I've been theorizing.
You need that. I'm starting to come around. Like, you need that. Like, we cannot go an entire Xbox Series generation and not have a new mainline Fallout game.
Yeah.
Like, we can't go that long. That is sitting on something. Something has to be there. I would imagine so, bro.
Phil or Sarah, if they ever join our show, Cog, I have a list of questions I just write down that come to my mind randomly that I'm like, whenever that time comes, because I believe strongly it will happen, that whenever that time comes, that's question number one for me. Not saying I got to go first. First question, though. Phil, if you're listening, man, I'm going to ask you about Fallout. I'm going to put it out there.
Let's go.
All right, let's get into the news now, starting off with number one. Speaking to Axios reporter Stephen Totilo, CEO of Microsoft Gaming Phil Spencer opened up on his desires for the future of Xbox Game Studios titles by saying, quote, I love the Forza Horizon 5 and Halo stats. I love how many people played Psychonauts 2 versus Psychonauts 1. When I look at the teams, when Todd and I talk about Starfield, it's how do we make this the most played Todd Howard game ever? Quality of the title is number one, no doubt about that. But that will be a success for the individual games. Can we really make these games? Can we allow them to reach more players than they've ever seen before? And I say that because I believe the social impact of interactive entertainment, I believe in the social impact of interactive entertainment, end quote. He follows this up with, quote, we want more people to be playing World of Warcraft in 5 years that are playing today. Phil's also aiming for the same with the likes of Call of Duty and Candy Crush because, quote, we've made it more accessible to more people, end quote. Now, I know this bit of news is a bit older than everything else we're going to talk about this week. This did slide under my radar, but I wanted to put it first and foremost, even if we won't have the longest conversation on it like our usual headlines, because I thought the mindset here was very interesting with now we're in a world where we know about Xbox's stance on the popular Activision Blizzard titles and that they don't want to cripple PlayStation, they don't want to cripple Nintendo. And he's talking about Starfield, to me, is the most standout quote here, Cog. I want to get your thoughts here on the idea of let's make it the most played Todd Howard game, but yet then the Bethesda deal was about exclusives, right? And we didn't want to cripple Sony. You get what I'm saying with this? There's a lot of contradicting statements of the desire to keep Sony around, the desire to keep Nintendo around, not hurt them, but you also, and so you want to make these games multi-plat, but yet Starfield, you want to be the most played game, but you're going to keep that exclusive. How does that actually happen? Are the phones and computer screens, is there that much reach? It's again, yeah, right. I know I'm just delivering it in a jumbled way, but there's been so many statements over the past couple of months. So enough from me. I want to hear from you. What do you make of Phil's stance on player count effectively being the king here?
This is a great question because normally when you look at the other games, when he says, Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, that you understand, right? Engagement, multiplayer. Where my confusion lied was I look at something like Starfield and I'm like, you're not really going to get more engagement, right? You may get more people playing it because of, the user base goes up and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But overall, it's a single player game, right? It's a single player game. So like, how can you make that happen? And what's the Halo quote? What's the Master Chief when you play Infinite? And he's like,
the missions change.
The missions change.
They always do.
They always do. And that's what I got here. What I think this is, let's be honest, the Activision deal and what's going on with legislation has, in my opinion, forced them to pivot. And I think, again, you guys better listen to Define and Do Ultimate because the White Walkers are outside. Mm. You know what I'm saying? The Amazons, the Apples, the Googles, the Tencents, the whoever, right? We're in this consolidation age. And if we're in this consolidation age and the play is Game Pass, the play is getting it on many screens and many devices, and even if those devices happen to be your competitors, your former competitors, then you will do so. So I think it's my gut feel it feels like it's more along those lines. But if it's up to them, Game Pass will be everywhere. If it's up to them, and they want as much people to play where Game Pass exists. So that's how I look at it. I do agree with you, though. Conflicting statement from the past, right? Yes. I just think that there is just a shift now. And the key with what we talked about in the prior Defining Duke would be the next deal, right? The next acquisition and their behavior. Because if they go back to the Bethesda-like behavior, people are going to, like Maddie, are going to say, yo, fam, which one is it? Yep. You're talking outside both sides of your mouth again. You see what I'm saying? And that's the criticism they open themselves up to. Me personally, I think the game has changed on some level. as far as where this thing is going with consolidation, and they are more willing. Everybody's more willing to play nice. Oh, let's share resources. Oh no, we're not going to take Destiny. Oh no, we're not going to take Call of Duty from you. We're going to put it on Nintendo. Nintendo wasn't even in the conversation. We're going to put it on Nintendo. Like out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that to me is what's going. But I'm curious your thoughts because I know this is a big thing for you.
Yeah. I don't want to make a problem out of nothing here because I was reading definitely the discourse after our last episode where we did highlight like our main talking point was the messaging issues that I feel Xbox has and you felt Xbox has. And, a lot of people were like, I get where you're coming from. I like this conversation. And some were in disagreement, just saying like things change. And this is one of those moments where like the Activision deal is substantial enough to shift things. I'm just wondering if games that we don't know about, the next Doom or Quake is the rumor, Wolfenstein. No, that's public. That's not me leaking anything. Yeah, don't worry. No, that's not.
Let me text it out. Article.
Yeah, right. Quake's the rumor. Wolfenstein 3, et cetera, whatever's coming from Tango Gameworks next. Now that the goal is to get as many people to play as possible, do we see these coming into PlayStation consoles down the line? Is it like a 1-year exclusivity? I just want to open up the dialogue. I know it sounds stupid now. I know how I sound. I understand. I respect people thinking I'm an idiot. But I just feel like I would be regretful if I didn't bring up the idea of this type of stuff because when Xbox wants more players, then you have to make this game available everywhere. And if PlayStation's not willing to play ball with you on, say, a Game Pass level, how else are you going to make Starfield the most played Todd Howard game? How many people are truly going to play Starfield on their phones? I could see more people streaming it from their Xbox One. I could see that. I could see PC, even though you could download it there. But how many people on devices where you couldn't buy the game already, which would be your phone, how many people are going to be playing it there to increase that player count is really what I'm asking. Again, I'm not trying to play straw man here and beat them over the head with semantics. I just feel like it needs to be said that there is a lacking of consistency here that, hey, I was team Xbox exclusive. I was like, yo, you guys want your exclusives? You got killed last gen. Go get them. Lock them down. Sure. Like I'm all for it. Sony almost killed you with the trading a used game video. Like go play hardball. That's fine with me. I like watching these companies go after each other. But when now it's changing a little bit, I'm wondering if this is, I think you're right at the end of the day. I just think that third acquisition, whatever it will be, that may end up being the telling energy of what this is all about.
That's how I feel. Because on one hand, I get both arguments. On one hand, people are like, no, it's going to be business usual. This is just because, the antitrust and they have to make some concessions because they're so fearful of the deal going through with Microsoft Activision. And I get that. And that's all valid. It just comes down to after this deal, right? Because what is going to happen if you do Sega or WB or, IO or whoever, you know what I'm saying? Like, Crystal or PlatinumGames.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is going to happen to the catalog of that studio or that publisher's games? Are they going to go everywhere? Are there going to be exceptions made? That is going to be the question that comes up. And we're in this weird place right now. And again, bro, it's 2 months in. I don't know what is happening right now in the industry. That's how crazy it is right now. And the rumor is more still coming.
Yeah. So I don't need to carry on my point any further. I just wanted to open up the line of discussion for the audience, share some thoughts, and we'll move on to what I think is really our true number one story of the week. The upcoming horror game Martha is Dead is set to arrive on February 24th, 2022. And if you're interested in the vision as intended experience, then you may want to consider picking up your copy for either Xbox or PC. A letter from publisher Wired Productions on behalf of developer LKA states that PlayStation is forcing the team to modify their game, thus disrupting the physical game launch for the title. This is the letter. Martha is Dead is a narrative adventure recommended for adult audiences only, with play consisting of potentially discomforting scenes and themes that may distress some players. Both Wired Productions and LKA have always been open and honest about Martha is Dead content, with sensitive depictions in play consistently communicated to the media since the game was announced in 2019. This content is also flagged clearly and repeatedly within the game itself before play begins. It is with regret that we have had to modify the experience on the PS5 and PS4 versions, with some elements no longer playable. After 4 years of passion and hard work, developer LKA now requires extra time to make these unplanned changes. Martha is Dead, as a result, will still launch digitally on both PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 on Thursday, February 24th, 2022. But the physical retail release will be delayed to a yet-to-be-disclosed date. Although we anticipate this to be only a small number of weeks, our tarot cards and Martha is Dead digital EP. Our physical edition will still contain because all these lines are so close together.
Yeah, that press conference.
Yeah, it's really tight in the picture here. So I blew it up big. I apologize. Our physical edition will still contain the bonus content of a double-sided poster, digital tarot cards, and Martha is Dead digital EP. We will update players with the date we ship this edition as soon as we have information. The PC and Xbox version of Martha is Dead are both unaffected by these developments and will launch with the fully unedited gameplay as planned. We look forward to players experiencing the work of LKA on Thursday, February 24, 2022. Rude Days 93 writes in, "Hey Dukes, what's your opinion on censorship in gaming? Recently, we witnessed the Martha is Dead developers send out a tweet about having to cut content for the PS4 and PS5 because of Sony censoring. Do you think the platform holder should have a right to do this? And as a consumer, would you choose a different platform?" I can't read right now.
Good.
And have I have over 70,000 Microsoft reward points and should talk about this more on Defining Duke type of day.
Use those points. That's the most underrated thing in Game Pass. Trust me when I tell you. I like that. Good one. It's a good one, man. I'm glad we talking about this one. Yeah. We briefly talked about our ILP. The story came in kind of late. Listen, I feel consistent with how I feel about being pro developer, pro expression, being able to create the game you want to create. And, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, I don't like hearing any of this type of stuff. I don't care who it is. This is not like anti-Sony, really. For me, it's anti-whoever. If Microsoft did this, if Nintendo did this, I'm going to be on them the same way. I don't like that stuff. And this is why I think this one bothers me, because it's like, if the developer goes out their way to put a disclaimer, with the advertisement of the game, a disclaimer in the game, hey, said game is going to have this type of content. If you are uncomfortable, if you're an audience that doesn't like blah, 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 this, please use discretion. Once you do that, to me, all bets is off. And again, I'm open expression. I don't really care. Like I said, to me, it's up to the gamer to say, nah, fam. You know what I mean? I'm not supporting this, right? And the other thing is, we also have, the ESRB, right? So the ESRB is like, hey, mature audience or whatever. There's a couple of things in place to me to make an informed decision on whether or not something is going to be for you. In this case, this is very strange to me because it's like Xbox clearly saw the game, right? PC clearly saw the game. They didn't have an issue. So I'm very curious as to what it was from the Sony side that make you say, okay, we cannot have this on our game. And it's a horror title. So again, I'm not saying apples to apples and stuff like that, but I mean, Last of Us 2 is out here, right? And I don't know what's in this game. So let's just put clear. I don't know for the fact. I can just tell you what is theorized. One theory is that what is depicted might be a playable sequence, right?
Yeah.
I heard a rumor. I don't know how true it is. A face get ripped off or something. I've heard rumors, right? And maybe in the Xbox and PC versions, you go through the whole face-off thing of cutting the face off, right? And maybe, I'm theorizing. This is rumor. I don't know this for a fact. I'm just theorizing. But one part of the theory is that there's player agency, that you can actually do whatever it is, right? That is offensive. So the theory is that Sony didn't necessarily take it out. They removed player agency, right? And it's just, maybe that's a cinematic now that happens and you just don't do it. So I don't know. Either way, I don't like it. That's the short of it. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, it definitely for me would be enough to go to a different platform. Again, not anti-Sony, just anti-anyone, because it changes the original vision. And it's weird because there's always going to be holes you can poke in it. I think of a very recent example. I talked about at the top how I was playing Final Fantasy VI Advance. And there's a scene where one of the main characters is being tortured, and it's a 16-bit pixel game. So like she's just getting punched in a prison cell. And honestly, to me, I was like, this is very tame, but they cut that out, right? They cut that out in the Game Boy Advance version, mind you. So this is like pre-internet days, really, like pre-big YouTube video days. Like, look at this scene here. Look at Twitter screenshots here. Meanwhile, later in the game, people who have played the game will know what I'm talking about. There is a part where this character, Edgar, meets Realm, a 10-year-old kid, and these are both party members. They're meeting for the first time, and Edgar is like a guy who hits on girls a lot, and he sees this 10-year-old, and he goes, "How old are you, by the way?" And she's like, "I'm 10." She walks away. He's like, "I'll see you in 8 years, kid." Like clearly getting into. I was like, dude, what? I was like, why is this? If you're gonna cut out that scene, why is this here then? Like that's to me clearly worse. Like that'll actually get you in trouble. So I'm curious if the Pixel remaster will have that. But the reason I bring all of that up is to say that there's always inconsistencies. Like I could almost understand if PlayStation wanted to cut out a playable section of sawing someone's face off. But then you look at what they did with the PS4 version of Devil May Cry 5 where someone's ass crack was showing and they're like, let's put a lens flare on that. Dude, how old are we right now? You know, and they're rated appropriately. Martha is Dead is rated M. Devil May Cry 5 was rated M. Like these are for mature audiences. That's what the ratings board is for, not for you to go in and mess with the content. So I'm not trying to make a big deal out of this, but I just think that PlayStation has a history of this. It's why a lot of visual novel content has left PlayStation and has moved over to Nintendo Switch.
No Switch. That's great. How crazy is that?
Because they're not getting censored. PlayStation has a long history of this, a long history. And it's funny because I think of, you brought up The Last of Us Part 2. That's a perfect example of like wincing torture scenes where like they clip your wings. You know what scene I'm talking about? That was like, oh, like that looks really painful. And I don't think it should have been censored at all because it conveys like a emotional distress that you can feel through the character. That's what the game's supposed to do. And when they start snipping out these things, especially in a horror game where it's supposed to convey to you this sense of dread, this uneasiness, this, oh God, am I really do? That's what it's all about. It shouldn't be jeopardized. And the reason why this does piss me off though, is because now you've moved back to physical launch. We're in a time where indies are already struggling. Game development's getting more expensive, and you've fucked up their physical date because you wanted to remove this, or I'm sorry, modify this. Now, because you can wash your hands of it. Oh, Horizon's coming out. We're good. We're getting our money. We're getting our check. But what about LKA? What about Wired, who are now are missing out on precious shelf lifetime, which is very important still to this day, to see the box and go, ooh, a new horror game. What's this? That's a missed opportunity for a couple of weeks. And it's so important because it's always the top of the mountain and then you decline steadily. It's about how long you can keep your head above water. So shout out to Xbox, shout out to PC, keeping this thing as is. But that's the main thing that bugs me is because those early sales, that early, word of mouth, so important. And, as someone who's making a game, man, like I want to, that type of stuff, you need that. You need that. So important.
I will say as a last point, the only thing that I'm hoping as a positive is that as a result of this, let's be clear, this game is getting the most pub right now as a result. So maybe there is a positive and it's like, yo, all right, I'm going to find out what the hell this game is because what the hell was it? There's a part of me now. I'm like, yo, what was censored? I want to know what, like, because the video is going to come out, the scene comparison and so on and so forth. So hopefully they get an extra little boost. Obviously they lose the physical. You can't replace that.
That's a really good point. This is probably more effective marketing than what I'm arguing.
Maybe this is an alley-oop, low key. And then what if it's a good game and then the game's really good and now people are like, yo, I'm behind this studio. And I'm very curious to see us monitor this situation as it continues.
Absolutely. It's a great point too. So I'm sure they're not too displeased with the marketing, but hopefully it turns into actual sales.
Good point. Yeah, you made a great point.
All right, number 3. PlatinumGames has gone from asking to begging in a week span. Just last week, we discussed the potential of Scalebound's return as CEO Atsushi Inaba and game director Hideki Kamiya directly asked Phil Spencer to work with them to bring it back. While that may be tantalizing for some, we also speculated on the show that Platinum may be interested in a large stack of Microsoft money during a trying time as they move to a focus on service titles such as Babylon's Fall, with Bayonetta 3 in development hell, and Astral Chain being their last main release in 2019. Now, they flat out want someone to buy them. Here is, again, CEO of PlatinumGames Atsushi Inaba, who speaks to outlet Video Games Chronicle about the potential of selling off. Quote, "The most important thing for us is to have the freedom to make the games that we want to make. What I hear about the recent acquisitions, I don't think Microsoft is going to start micromanaging Activision to where they take away all their freedom. I don't think it's going to be a relationship like that. I think there's going to be a lot of mutual respect there, and I think Activision will be able to continue doing what they do best. That's also what's most important for us at the end of the day, whatever form that takes for us and our company. So I would not turn anything down as long as our freedom was still respected." Now, Maddie's got the receipts. This is a major change in tune, as it was only May 2020 that PlatinumGames was dancing to a different beat. Quote, "I did read some rumors about Xbox wanting to purchase PlatinumGames, and I thought, people on the internet write the craziest stuff, because that conversation has not come to our doorstep at all. We've not had any talks about that, but I think even if it was a possibility, we're going into more independent self-publishing. It's not that we're disinterested in Microsoft, but if the relationship were to be working under their direction, I feel like that would be the opposite of what we're trying to do now and limit our possibilities. Any opportunities that would limit our freedom, I think we would be against."
Yeah, you did your diligence here. I didn't know.
Please go first. I'm going to listen, but I need water.
Yeah, go for it. Pretty damning. Look, man, your boy, I am clearly biased. I love me some PlatinumGames. As I said ad nauseum, I had the opportunity to interview both, Kamiya-san and Naba-san, and I believe it was Wonderful 101. That was kickstarted at the time.
Yes.
And now that I think about it, was kickstarted. And look, didn't know about this. So when I see this, right, this is what I get out of it. The lights were on, the rent was paid, check account was looking good. You know what I'm saying? You feeling good at that time. Everything was nice.
Yeah, May 2020, man. They had a good setup. Think about where they were at the time. Astral Chain just came out. It was successful. They were announcing Babylon's Fall with Square Enix. This was a service title. They had a lot going for them at the moment. So please continue.
Now, here's the part that I find hilarious. When you fast forward to now, the most important thing for us is to have the freedom to make the games we want to make. When I hear about the recent acquisitions, I don't think Microsoft. My thing is this. You talk about acquisitions. Why are you name dropping Microsoft? Like Sony's out here.
Yeah.
Sony's out here. Like, so clearly to me, this is a public play, because it's like, everyone, there's other people that you could be acquired by. You keep name dropping Microsoft as if, hey, and let's be real, we know Microsoft is outside. People seeing this money. I got to give King his flowers on this, because King called this. He literally called this out, because I was like, yo, they need to get them. They were like, nah, man, them dudes is begging. And I'm like, listen, man. I was like, there's a Japanese studio. Because it was about, we just talked about Scalebound specifically.
Yeah.
And then King was like, not unless we own them, like own the building, and then we will think about it. So look, I say, King is a savage. He's a savage. I love him. What it is this, they clearly, in my opinion, let's look at the track record. The last couple of joints, PlatinumGames, right, didn't necessarily hit, right? Didn't they have that MMO kind of thingy? I forgot the name of that one. I'm forgetting the name of it. They kind of were playing around, experimenting with different things, and it's been a minute. And look, who knows what's going on inside that building? But this is now the second time, because the first time we just came off the Scalebound thing. Hey, Phil, directly, we would like to work with you. These conversations could be had behind closed doors. Come on, like this could be had. Now, ultimately, I'm still going to be on the side of Microsoft. You need to do it. You need to do it, because guess what? They're Japanese. You need to figure this out, because maybe then when you control situation, you can kind of regulate on the deliverables and how things are going to work, kind of thing. But I would like it. I would like, because it's rare. We talked about it last, dude. This is so rare that a Japanese studio is looking to be acquired, right? Now, of course, there are hoops. We don't know with the legality and how difficult it truly is, you know what I'm saying, to make it happen. But one thing that I don't know if you caught with this interview, there was another part of it, was that Kamiya-sama made one of the more interesting statements that a lot of people didn't catch, I feel, which was, he says, I don't know why my other contemporaries, Japanese publishers, developers, are not as receptive to acquisition. We have to get out of our, the old ways of doing things, right? So to me, because let's be honest, the feeling is like there is some type of not inherent bias, but more of structurally to come in and take over a boardroom of another foreign, you know what I'm saying? There's a clash. That's what the feeling is. You have a guy, in my opinion, that is almost more progressive, almost unlike his contemporaries, that is willing to say, hey, I'm not from the old school way of doing things. We are all about that. He almost reminds me of Kojima in that respect. Like, Kojima has Western sensibilities. Right? That's just me. Like, he does not operate like the traditional, like Kojima is getting the dude from Walking Dead. That means you watching Walking Dead. You watching Norman Reedus. Like, you're messing with Guillermo del Toro. You're messing with American Western stuff. So that's the sense I get. And to finish my ramble, this is funny. I want this to happen. I really do. I don't know if it will happen, but he is doing a good job, I will say this, of public pressure. And it is key to see how the relationship is severed or not, that this thing could happen. Because I would love to see Platinum part of it, man. But I'm curious, where are you? Because me and you are Team Platinum. I want to know where you at with this. And at the end of the day, if they do get it, make a sequel to Astral Chain. Because I know all the fanboys, they can't get it. It's owned by Nintendo. I know it's owned by Nintendo. I just want the platform to kind of continue on Xbox. And if there was a magical way, because that game is amazing. So I want to hear what you guys. So good.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had to walk back a statement so quickly in my life. Normally what I put out there, I'm pretty confident. I think it's defendable, but I was very much like, oh, team, give him a chance. I was like, oh, I think we got something here. Let's bring back Scalebound. Let's work with them. And we were speculating like, yo, Phil, they actually want to work with you. What's going on, man? Pick up the phone. But there comes a point where the ulterior motive is clearly there, that dire straits, and Xbox is their specialty is when you're down, we swoop in and we pick you up. And this is them publicly kind of saying to me, we're in trouble. Someone please help us. That's because no self-respecting owner, I don't know how to say this, of a business is just putting out there, 2 years after going independent. Yeah, I mean, as long as we're not, as long as we can do what we want, I guess we'll do it, just the week before, please, Phil, let's do it. They're desperate. And I don't think that puts them in the most powerful position, because now those comments that we were getting last week as the news was rolling in about, the hell no's, the stop the caps of look, we got Astral Chain in 2019. Now we're looking at Babylon's Fall. I want to say April. That could be a damning release for them. This conversation could accelerate pretty quickly. And we're like, yo, what is this game, man? Bayonetta 3, as of this moment in time, we have no idea what's going on with that. It wasn't even at the latest Nintendo Direct, and they don't put those out all too often. So, that is probably a ways out, maybe the end of the year. Platinum is not a steady developer. They do need help. And when they're in a healthy position, right, when we're getting our Bayonetta 2s, and a couple years later, we're getting our Astral Chain, right? That's when they're at their strongest. But then I remember when this happened, when they went independent after Astral Chain. And I remember saying on Ham Radio podcast, this is foolish of them. They are not big enough to do this. They're just not, because they make the wonderful 101, this superhero team up, beat 'em up game that barely sold. And they just let that crowdfunding moment where people were like, yeah, let's give this game a second chance. You want to talk about a moment that goes to your head. Look at that right there, because they changed from that moment on, and they bit off way more than they can chew, and now they need help. Do I push away Platinum? No. I'm just a little less gung-ho on things because it's not like, I think if they got IO Interactive, I'm like, you're getting a company at like the apex right now. Like they just made Hitman 3. I almost said Killzone 3. They just made Hitman 3. We know they're working on a 007 game. We're hearing rumors about Project Dragon, this fantasy RPG with Hitman elements. Like, oh, this all sounds good. Like you'd be getting them at a really good time. But with Platinum, it's another company that we are absorbing at a shitty time. I want to get someone kind of like, I don't know if that, even Bethesda, right? Bethesda was in not the best spot. And Bethesda was most exciting for me, but they were on the decline too. It was like, oh, now there's hope restored, right? I want to see Xbox just get someone like Bungie who was like, yo, we're doing great and welcome to their family.
Look, man, I know that sounds nice.
It's not, yeah, right? If they're doing well, they don't need you.
They don't need you. Look, this is the time, man. I feel you got to do it because it's like, all right.
I'm not saying don't do it.
No, you're saying to do it. You're saying to do it. You're right. But I know what you're saying. You're saying like just for once, I want them to get somebody that's actually like, I get what you're doing.
Nitpicky, but I feel like, here we go again. We have to wait because how many companies sorry, I'm going to cut you off, but how many companies do we got to wait for them to get their shit together?
I feel you.
About the companies they bought in 2018 that had to figure shit out, get games out, and now we're finally half a decade later seeing things like
the wait.
Like immediate impact is what I'm looking for here.
This is what I'm saying. I feel you because it's again, we use the farm system analogy. They got to get rid of all the stuff, and then it's going to take time to develop, and the game's going to be 3-4 years. I get it. Absolutely valid. What I'm saying is, could you imagine? Walk with me now.
Walking.
We at the Microsoft, Bethesda / Activision E3 conference, whatever it's called.
Yeah,
whatever it's going to be called.
Right? Can't come up with a new name for it.
Then you do that, when your game's coming out, and Phil comes out, and Sarah Bond, and then at the end, you do one more thing. And you see a way better version of the Dante dude with the headphones.
Yeah.
And you see the dragon. And let's say the graphical fidelity is crazy. And I'm telling you right now, if you see Scalebound PNG returns, the roof will erupt. I'm telling it's a moment.
Yes.
It's a moment. Like we always get on Xbox. We always get on them. They don't know. They don't have their finger on the pulse. And this is a game for whatever it was in that Xbox One generation that I know people that were like, yo, I was looking forward to it. Now, I feel there was way too many people capping and saying like, oh, this was the reason I would have bought an Xbox One for it. But I know people were excited at the style of that game, that type of game on Xbox. And I will say it will be, especially if now they're in pocket and it looks amazing. And this is the other thing. This is his dream game. That is literally his dream game. Kami has said, like, now granted to your point, it comes off as begging. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They desperate. I don't know if the rent going to get paid next year. I don't know what's happening. But Microsoft, this is the time. This is what Microsoft does. They swoop in right at the very end. But that's what I think it'd be a moment, bro. I don't know. Maybe I'm too biased. I love Platinum, man. I really want them to get a shot. And they fit so many check boxes. Now, of course, you got to put for them. This only caveat. You're gonna have a little special contract with them. The special, you gonna have deliverables. Like if we gonna work together, you ain't burning me like we did. If I own you, you gonna do X, Y, and Z. Otherwise, this contract's not getting done. That's what I would do, and just let Phil's in the driver's seat. Just chilling. Just do the thing, Phil. Come on.
Yeah, I agree. I am all for the bringing back of Scalebound. I think you at least give that a shake, right? Because at its core, it was a multiplayer game with loot at its focus, and that just reeks of Game Pass. Like, it's so obvious that if you have two partners willing, and then I actually saw a clip of Phil after the cancellation of Scalebound just saying, like, yeah, we'd love to work with PlatinumGames again. And this was on, I think, Podcast Unlocked. So there's been murmurings, like, this is two exes talking to their friends about the old girl, and they're like, yeah, I just miss her, but she probably doesn't like me. And then now they're both being public about, or I'm sorry, one side's being public about it, and maybe the reciprocation we do see at a conference or something like Scalebound will return. On the acquisition front, like, me, I'm all about putting that footprint in Japan. I want it. I think it's necessary. Just I want to make the Xbox listeners aware of what Japanese company you're getting here. You're not getting a Sega, a Capcom, like a Titan.
Oh, absolutely.
You're getting a weaker one because that's the thing. We were talking about those companies specifically because those were the branches that would then go out and get the new Japanese talent that would solidify Xbox in that region. Platinum Games is a statement, and I would be thrilled. But it's not going to be, I don't think, the dominant arm that would reach out to other talent that would create a strong presence in the region.
I agree. So Rome ain't built in a day, man. You got to get one.
It's a great first step. It's a great first step. I don't know. Am I nitpicking this episode? I feel like I might be.
You're hard on them. You're doing tough love, and I love it though. You're doing tough love from a great.
I don't think the audience will like me this episode.
I don't think so. I think you're fine. Listen, I know a lot of people agree with you. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's okay to think that way because, again, in the grand scheme of things, they are small compared to everything else. All I'm saying is this is a company, an American company, Microsoft, that notoriously has no ties, nothing over there. They sell like 5 Xbox Ones in Japan. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this, you have no footing, right? So to me, even if they're down, even if it's a mid-tier acquisition, get it because you need to establish, and maybe that then leads to other things. But I'm with you, of course, Sega, of course, all the bigger guys, if you can, of course. But get that dude. Get the little man.
Get the little man.
Yeah, I just pay the rent.
For anyone who wants perspective, view it as like a slightly more noteworthy Tango GameWorks. Like that's the presence you're kind of looking at here. It's another studio. But it's not probably going to branch into anything else, which baby steps. So
I agree.
Great conversation there. Let's move on to number 4. The Halo TV series recently received a new trailer that many of you have likely seen, which marked a March 24th, 2022 release. That could be in jeopardy as former series composer Marty O'Donnell, as well as Mike Salvatore, are set to sue Microsoft over unpaid royalties. This was filed 2 years ago, but according to O'Donnell, Microsoft has ignored their terms. And now the next step is being taken. A mediation session is scheduled between the two parties, and if a settlement is not made, then it could head to court. The reason for this is simple. O'Donnell and Salvatore are claiming that the iconic Halo music was trademarked under O'Donnell Salvatore Inc. and then licensed out specifically to Bungie, right, for use. Eurogamer reports that Microsoft declared the composer's score is under work for hire, which would make them the owners of it to do with whatever they please. The duo is arguing it should be receiving its agreed upon 20% of ancillary royalties for anything involving their music outside of the games. Why does this matter to you, the listener? Because Marty has explicitly said to his lawyers to explore injunction options to block out the TV show's release date or at the very minimum, delay it until there is a solution met. Wow. So that hasn't seemed to slow things down for Paramount, as they have already renewed the Halo TV show for a second season ahead of its debut, as reported by Variety. It'll be handled by Brave New World creator and Fear the Walking Dead co-executive producer David Weiner. The original showrunners Kyle Killen and Stephen Kane have already departed from the show due to the reportedly massive scope of the series. All right, Cog. So Marty making the legal rounds again.
He's back.
We had Hogan on an episode of Defiant Duke Ultimate to talk about some of the legal issues going on there in the Destiny scene. And now here he is again on the Halo front. You know, what do you make of our man Marty? He's fighting his fight.
Yeah, Marty's back. I mean, and I don't want to eliminate also Mike. Mike Salvatore is a name that I know very well. You know, I've had conversations with Mike. Mike is kind of one of the lead composers now to Destiny, right? And so basically
current Destiny or like the original?
Current Destiny.
Nice.
Mike's still working with Destiny right now.
Nice.
Like Mike is the lead guy. And so basically it's like the main guy, and then you kind of your understudy that does a lot of the stuff. And in the early Bungie days with Halo, it was Marty and then Mike. With Destiny, then became when Marty had the rough split. Defiant Duke Ultimate, please watch that with Hulk breaking it down. And Marty lost that one because Marty thought he had the rights to do whatever he wanted to do with the Destiny music, put it in places it shouldn't have been. Bungie, sued, and he owes them. So that's one thing. So this is interesting because now it seems to be happening, but on a different level. And according to what it seems like, I didn't watch the latest Hulk video, but according to what it seems like is that they may have a legitimate case if it is like, hey, Microsoft wasn't supposed to use this music. Microsoft's argument is, hey, this is work for hire. We have the right to it. This is going to have to either be settled, right? This is going to have to most likely be some type of settlement to get involved here. And I just thought it was interesting, that this came back up, that Marty's back in the mix again. Trying to catch a W off of the last L. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Maybe try to
bounce back performance.
Bounce back, come right back, especially if what you call to the wrong. The shame would be is if Microsoft's in the wrong and they use this, like delaying the show, threatening the show, like they're going to have to settle. They're going to have to settle either side. So that's what my gut says settlement. But again, I'm curious what Hogue had to say. I didn't get a chance to listen to him. And I'm curious about what you got to say because I didn't expect this. This was something I was like, wow, here we go again with music and licensing and royalties.
Yeah. I wonder if anyone's going to want to work with Marty because it just seems like where he's been, there have been legal problems afterwards. And, obviously if it's fair game, then he's doing the right thing. But I'm just saying, I wonder if this will ever put him out of work. But I digress. Yeah, I'm with you on settlement because that was my initial thought when I read this was if this is going to threaten the release date of that show at all, you don't know how long it's going to take. Just give him the money he needs, whatever it is, and be on your way. Certainly, it's not as much as what the show could generate for them through Paramount and through Halo sales and Halo merch and all of that stuff because they've seen again, I always remind people like The Witcher 3 was such a super successful video game. Just raved about everywhere, hardcore and core gaming circles alike. It hit its highest player count years later when the Netflix series dropped. So Microsoft is looking for their Netflix Witcher moment here with Halo Infinite when it's dying and saying like, okay, Paramount show's coming out. Like they want this beat, I think. So I'm thinking they're going to settle. I'm with you, Cog, on that. What do you think, though, on the latter part of the news? A second season already confirmed.
Wow, they're very confident. Very confident. Look, we talked about it, right? We liked what we saw. We liked what we thought that it was very promising. Outside like a couple of minor things people may nitpick with Cortana or whatever, but overall we felt it respected the series and the promise is there. So if they already got a second line, they got massive plans, bro. Massive plans for this. That's why what you said is so, accurate is that this can't be stopped by even if they're in the wrong, this can't be stopped. You're going to have to give them a bag, give Marty and Mike a bag and keep it moving. Yeah. We'll see if they're in the right or not.
Absolutely. So time will tell on that. We'll certainly have a DDU on the show and what we think of it and all that stuff. We'll talk about our thoughts and impressions here, of course, but a spoiler cast and review discussion will be inbound for that because I think that'll be a lot of fun. Let's move on to number 5. This one in particular really excited me. I want to shout out Brian specifically who had written in. We used his question, but I did not know about this news until it was brought to my attention by the write-ins. This is why write-ins are important because they do inform us on news that we may miss that's not meeting the news cycle. So
exactly.
Let's read. In another exclusive report by Variety, Middle-earth is up for sale. The article notes that the Zance Co. has hired ACF investment banks to handle the auction, which is unfolding this week. The reported price tag is a pristine $2 billion. The next holder of the rights would have access to the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit properties in film, video games, merchandising, live events, and theme parks. While Warner Bros. Remains in partial control of film development rights through its ownership of New Line Cinema, the company hasn't been active enough with the license and thus deeming it the right time to sell. As of now, Amazon's Ring of Power show is set to release September 2nd, 2022, and the anime feature Lord of the Rings War of the Rohirrim is set to release April 2024. And as of now, we don't know of any new Middle-earth games outside of the Gollum one, which looks not good in my opinion. Brian Shantz writes in, top of the morning to Fine Dukes. I'm sure you have heard that Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movie and game rights are now for sale at an estimated $2 billion. Who would you like to see purchase these rights? Unfortunately, I think Disney will end up buying them. Also, whoever ends up buying the rights, do you think we could see the return of any of the currently unavailable Lord of the Rings games, such as The Two Towers, Conquest, or War in the North? Anyway, have a conflicting messaging from Microsoft kind of day.
I love that. That was classic. I would defer to you for. I'm curious what you think. I'm curious. Like this was news to me. Mm-hmm. I did not know about this. So who would you want to have this?
I was on a little bit of a Middle-earth kick in December. Funny enough, like I read The Hobbit and everything, and I forgot it was like a children's book. But I love Lord of the Rings a lot more than I think I preach on platforms because it's not like I think of my Fallout fanship. It's like I'm out there, like I'm replaying the games constantly. But like Lord of the Rings, I love dearly, and I saw this. Look, I know we're an Xbox show, so people are probably going to be like, oh, surprise.
Let's go.
Xbox, pick up the phone, man. If this is the price tag, you have missed out on pop culture beats. You have missed out horribly on it. And Lord of the Rings is still, with the Middle-earth games, we know there is so much potential there, and there's so much you can build within that world that has not been explored. And now, I would say normally leave it be. Paramount, though, we're seeing them do the Halo show. Microsoft clearly has an interest in TV. Get Lord of the Rings, get Hobbit. Make it your thing, man. I'm sorry. I know Amazon's Rings of Power with the costume design has been very Narnia inspired.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you got to take that route, but I think on a games front, again, you have the chance to have a known, developed, popular IP, and you can actually be involved in the pop culture conversation in a place that like no one's really talking about. It's DC and it's Lord of the Rings. Like these are two territories right now that I think are surprisingly dormant. And we got to talk about Warner Bros. On that note.
Let's get it.
Warner Bros. Someone needs to let a fire under their ass, because I was having a conversation with Randall Thor about the amount of games that have been in development for their set of game studios for so long that they are struggling, I think. And it doesn't surprise me now that they were looking to sell at one point. I'll bring up the actual games and releases in a moment, but Kak, I want to dish it to you. How are you feeling about Lord of the Rings? How are you feeling about Warner Bros. And where these IP are in their current limbo state?
Yeah, complete agreement. I think that Lord of the Rings, I'm a huge fan of them as well. Like, I love that stuff. Yeah, it's funny because when you were describing, I'm the same way. I'm such a fan, but I don't really broadcast it. You know what I'm saying? Sauron and, the Hobbits and Gollum. Like, I loved all that stuff. I remember when Shadow of Mordor and all that stuff came out, and it was like, yo, it's in the universe. That intrigued me, right? And we got the Nemesis system and all that cool stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I was all about that. So, yeah, like, this is a franchise that you've got the game rights, you've got the movie rights that are available. I got a funny feeling though, man. People ain't gonna like this. But these are the type of moves. Just seen Bungie looking for the big lights in the movies with a certain company.
Yeah, no, that's a great pick. I know where you're going. Keep going.
And listen, as much as I would love Xbox to do it, I just feel that Sony's sitting in the wings right here on it. To me, this is a slam dunk for them to do this. Like just you control. First of all, they could do their hashtag just one with any of this, right? Then you got the movie potential. You know what I'm saying? Like it literally kind of fits better in their whole ecosystem and establishment. Now, I want Microsoft to do it, but Microsoft to this point has not shown me that they are willing to commit to pop culture, like hardcore. And no disrespect, Indiana Jones, no disrespect, but that was way back. My mom was just watching that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, like, we talking about more current, more, you know what I mean? Like, you've got the main actor for what is it? Shang-Chi, the 10 Rings. Yes, he's an Xbox guy. He's putting it on his chest, like. You need to be on that. You need to be calling the studio. You need to have here's the 10 Ring game for Xbox. Like, we need to get on this because I see what Sony's doing. That you see that Wolverine?
Yeah.
You see that? You know what I'm saying? You see that Spider-Man? You see, like, they're on it. They are on it.
Star Wars even.
Star Wars, they're on it. Like, get on it, man. Like, this is you want to get what the kids and what people are playing. Like that's just what people are. If you get non-gamers, that's the thing. You want the millions? You want more engagement than you ever saw before? You want it? Go get it.
Yeah. Yep.
That's me.
Beautifully put. And just for the extra data on what I was talking about earlier, here's some of the Warner Bros. Studios. So it's been 9 years since we saw a game from Warner Bros. Montreal where they released Arkham Origins, and they're working on Gotham Knights, which is supposed to come out this year.
Right.
8 years now with the report that Suicide Squad's been delayed to 2023, with its last game being Arkham Knights. That was 2015. 8 years.
Wow.
Monolith, the people who were making the Middle-earth games, last game, Shadow of War, was 2017. And now they're working on Wonder Woman, which is probably going to be 2023, 2024.
Okay.
Then there's TT Games, just 5 years. This is a typically annual studio, 5 years.
Wow.
So it's just a little perspective on Warner Bros. And their management of IP on the gaming front. I know it has nothing to do with the film front, where it seems like there's been inactivity there enough that Variety's reporting like we're going to sell this as well. And it's something to pay attention to, I think, because I think there's trouble on the home front here as well.
I think so. And I will say this again, I hate to scare up the Xbox, but we did hear Sony's outside right after Bungie. They said, we're not done. There's still other things.
Yes.
These are the type of things that they would kind of swoop up. So to me, it's like
a lot of sense.
Right. And we know for a fact Sony was in on Bethesda. They at least made a bid. They made a, hey, we're interested, right? And then Microsoft, no. We gotta go, hey, calm down. We gotta come in. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you gotta be aggressive, man. This is that consolidation era, right? You gotta be aggressive. You gotta sure up the picks.
I agree. So we'll see what happens with Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, all that stuff. It's happening this week. So by the time everyone's listening, we actually may have somewhat of an answer on who's the winner of the auction.
Yeah.
I think you're on the money, though. I think Sony, this is a pretty slam dunk move for them. Just secure those rights. These movies have been doing well, and games, they're tapping into that. It's a great fit.
Great fit for them. They do it.
All right, number 6 this is a quick one. The future of Call of Duty is quite relevant to this show now, so let's talk about it. In a Call of Duty community update, the long-rumored Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 has been confirmed, serving as a sequel to the 2019 Modern Warfare. The post also states that a new Warzone experience is on the way and will be using the new engine to build it from the ground up. So this kind of falls in line with what Schreier had reported. Obviously now those details that he claimed were hazier are no longer as hazy.
Yes.
But we have an idea now of the future of Call of Duty, future Game Pass games like Modern Warfare 2 possibly. We'll see. They probably won't be under the studio's name at that certain point in time. But still, how are you feeling about the changes to Call of Duty as of this moment?
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased. Like, Warfare 2, I was still in that zone. I was the guy. Like, if I gotta speak to Mama Micah, because I know she's COD like all day. Like, I'm curious. Like, that's what I used to play. Like Modern Warfare 1, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops when it first came out. Black Ops 2. I probably fell off like right around Black Ops 3, but during that was when I betrayed Halo. I was in my Call of Duty bag during that time. Like, yeah, it was 60 frames, the perks, and what was the one when you get on the floor and you shoot for the floor?
Last Stand? You use Last Stand? No.
Bro, I crushed.
You were a Last Stand member way before it even existed.
Yo, good one. That was bars. I like that. Yeah, I was definitely an LSM member. I had that. I crutched on that. I'll be that guy shooting you.
You were the guy. I probably yelled at you on Xbox Live at some point.
Definitely, bro. I was garbage. So I did that shit. Yeah, that was a piece. So yeah, like I love that, man. Bring that back, and then it gives the confirmation, right? We said that Warzone, another Warzone's coming.
That's a little bit surprising. I think this is like the first time when you look at Fortnite, I think it was a Titan, like, did they ever do like a relaunch, a new experience, like a Warzone 2, a Fortnite 2? Well, I don't know if we've actually really quite seen this in the service realm. So I'm kind of interested to see what they wanted to do on a new experience. And I admire this because they clearly have something they could sit around with for a much longer time. They want to move forward a little bit, build something a bit better. So what do you think on this one? Because, I don't really dabble much in Battle Royale. Like I think the last one I played was Apex Legends, and I dropped that pretty quickly, even though I did like it a lot. But how do you feel about what's going on with Warzone?
I will say this. Out of all the Battle Royales, when they all came out, PUBG was the OG, right? When I was like, damn, I like PUBG. It's more in the realistic feel. But it just ran like crap, the engine and lack of updates. And then here comes Fortnite. And I'm just not into Fortnite. I want to like it. It's just when you shoot at someone, it's like, oh, friend, let me build this building right quick. Like, it loses me. That's when I get disconnected from that. Yeah. Apex is really good. I'll be honest, though. When I tried Warzone, I was like, okay, this would be the one. If I was a hardcore battle royale, because this is what I wanted PUBG to be. Have a good damn engine, look good. And then the 60 and it's smooth. And I'm like, they got it. So I'm not mad at Warzone players. I was surprised by this, but I will say all this to say I'm not I've kind of fell off of Call of Duty. I don't play Battle Royale like that. But you throw these in Game Pass, I will be checking them out. Now you got my attention. Now I'm like, okay, I ain't gotta spend no bread for this. Technically, like spend no bread. Like I'm in. Like that's a huge get. So I'm with you to your point though. It is interesting that there was a sequel to this. My only concern was that during the Bobby era, what is it? Jez calls him Robert. Yes. He calls him Robert. It's funny. You know, during that era, if they were trying to be greedy and say, Call of Duty annualized, Modern Warfare annualized, right? Like, I mean, Warzone annualized. I'm very curious to see if that was the eventual roadmap because they knew they got another one with that one. So, what do you think, man? Are you interested? Are you not? Will you be playing? Even with Game Pass, nobody knows.
It's so funny because a couple of people like wrote to me because like since I do a lot of Xbox coverage, I typically catch heat for anything they do, good or bad. And someone was like, "Are you going to start playing Call of Duty now?" I'm like, "Bro, I was playing Call of Duty since day one. I that was the high school game. That was the early college game. Like I have played so much Call of Duty in my time to the point where I think I'm just kind of over it now. Like when Vanguard came out, that's what I knew because I tried to play. I played Black Ops Cold War. I really liked the campaign for that, but the multiplayer I just bounced off of pretty quickly after like 10 hours with it. And I was like, I'm not really as deep in the COD game as I once was. Then when Vanguard rolled around, like even all the reports aside, like I've ignored the COD hate train for a while because every year it's dead, it's dying, it's doing worse than ever.
Oh, yeah, it's over. It's over.
It's the best selling game of the year. I'm like, okay, well, clearly it's fine. But and of course, there are legitimate reports that come out that do show there's some things changing on the home front there that they do need to adapt to. But otherwise, it's still thriving. And when I didn't feel anything like, I want to try this out. I want to see the campaign. I want to see the multiplayer, especially like World War II, boots on the ground. Like that's me. Like my favorite Call of Duty, for those who don't know, World at War. Like, that's my era.
Really?
I love World at War, man.
You was a World at War guy.
Remember that little rivalry when Modern Warfare and World at War were popping off? And like,
yes,
it was like, what are you playing? Huh? I was a World at War guy through and through, man. That was my COD. Yeah, I'm a Treyarch guy. I always was.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, though. MW2, right beneath that.
All right. That's what I'm saying. Show some respect.
MW2 always cracks me up, though. I think people forget how fucking broken that game was because everyone who played it was teenagers. We didn't know what like a broken game was like. But Modern Warfare 2, One Man Army Noob Tubes, like Danger Close. This was all allowed in one class, where you could change your class to replenish your ammo, and everyone was shooting rocket launchers. It was not good, man. It was
busted.
Horribly balanced multiplayer, man.
It was definitely not balanced.
It was just an iconic era of Xbox trash talk. Like that's what it was.
Them lobbies, bro. Them lobbies. Oh man, we used to do that. Search
Everyone on
and destroy.
planet Earth would be canceled if you knew what those going on in those lobbies.
Well said. Everyone was canceled. Like back in those days, without the proper moderation and integrity stuff that they had to do.
Integrity ops leads.
Yeah, boy. Man, I would have been put to work back in the because you learned about people you played with and against as soon as that match was over.
Yep.
What?
Yeah. There is some foul shit being said. So,
bro, only the strong survive.
So yeah, that era of Modern Warfare 2 will never be around. By name alone, I am interested. I am curious to see what they did. But this is a hot take, and I know it's not a popular one. I wasn't crazy in the 2019 Modern Warfare. I didn't like how it felt. I know a lot of people like the engine updates. It just felt clunkier to me. Like the last COD I truly played a lot of, like 100 plus hours, was Black Ops 4. That felt really good to me to play. I was a really competent first person shooter. But you know, when the new Modern Warfare came out, it felt too weighty and it's hard to describe without laying your hands on it. It's been long enough
like
where
feel.
Yeah, it's a feel thing. That's what all COD games are to me. They're all the same speed. It's just about a feel, like the ADS timing. It's like the little minute things. And
no, I feel you.
So we'll see with Modern Warfare 2 being built on this engine how it feels, but I'm open to it. And if it's on Game Pass, yeah, of course I'll be sniffing around. I'm always sniffing around these day one games. I can't play CrossfireX day one and see what that's all about and then not play Call of Duty.
Bro,
I got to right the wrongs this year.
And the thing about it is, I'm with you. Like I knew it was. I stopped. Damn, I can't remember the last COD I played was Black Ops 3. Like it was that. It's been that long, bro. I was like, I'm done. Been there, done that. So it is interesting. I'm curious to see what would happen to me. That it's available. Would any bit of fever come back to me? Like, because I know I'm going to have access. There's no excuse. They'd be like, yo, you ain't got it? You got it. You can download it right now. So, and I know people who still play it religiously. So it'll be interesting.
With that, let's move on to number 7, our final bit of news. Coming soon to Xbox Game Pass, starting off with Mass Effect Legendary Edition for Cloud. This is via EA Play, arriving February 15th, so you'll already have this by the time you're listening. There's also Lawn Mowing Simulator coming to Xbox Game Pass. This is through the ID at Xbox program, February 17th. Madden NFL 22, console and PC through EA Play, February 17th. Total War Warhammer 3 on PC Game Pass only. This is a day one drop, February 17th. I just want to quickly throw out there, do not sleep on this one. It was interesting watching the console fanboys go at it on this one because
they were doing what they were doing.
Horizon drops and they're just like pounding their chest like, let's go, let's go. You know, and this is around the time that CrossfireX was coming out and they're pointing and laughing, but no one's paying attention to the Game Pass day one drop that was happening here. And so they were using Total War Warhammer, which I'm sure half these fucking fanboys don't even give a shit about. And they're just like, look at this idiot on Metacritic, bro. What do you mean? We're right there next to Horizon. I'm like, you guys are so sad. Like, just please stop.
You know, bro, the war is real, bro. The war is real. Dudes will use anything for ammunition for their side. You're right. There's a lot of dudes capping. I see it and I'm like, you don't even play those type of games, but I'm not going to say nothing. I understand what you try to do to mitigate someone else's release. I get it.
Let's keep going, though. We got RoboQuest entering game preview on PC via Xbox or ID at Xbox on February 22nd. Galactic Civilizations 3 is on PC Game Pass through ID at Xbox on February 24th. Super Mega Baseball 3 arrives on console Game Pass through EA Play on February 24th. Alice Madness returns on PC Game Pass through EA Play February 28th. And then leaving Game Pass now. Hypnospace Outlaw leaves Cloud Console and PC Game Pass February 28th. Killer Queen Black leaves Cloud and Console Game Pass February 28th. Stealth Inc. 2 leaves Cloud and Console Game Pass February 28th. And Titanfall leaves Console and PC Game Pass March 1st.
What the hell is that about?
Wasn't that because they were taking down the servers? Wasn't that?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Right. Damn.
I know, that's a sad one.
For me, I just got a funny comment on the games just coming in. I got EA, you got to come to the front of the congregation. We got to talk. I got a problem with this. You know damn well the Super Bowl just ended. You know damn well most people ain't playing football no more. But here you come now, offering Madden in game. You think you slick on the back end. I understand the hustle. You know the engagement's going down. Now you want to offer. It's like, I get it. Business is business. But could we get a month or two of Madden while the season is going on? You know what I'm saying? I know what you're doing, bro. It pisses me off because I'm a sports guy and I would play Madden more because I mean Madden hasn't improved in so long. We ain't gonna get into that, but I would play it more.
NFL 2K5, right? That's what it is.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, if they had competition, right? You know what I'm saying? It's just like I look at that, I'm like, EA just EA-ing right now. Like, it's so slick by doing that. I just want to call them out. They don't. They think they subtle with it, and I just want them to get called out a little bit.
What we gotta say though is, let's take EA out of the equation. Let's say EA Play's not a part of Game Pass. Look at this lineup without it. You get Lawn Mowing Simulator, you get RoboQuest in game preview, and you get, let's see here, Total War and Galactic Civilization. Not bad. Not a bad lineup.
Not bad.
But like half your lineup for the month, kaput, disappears.
Yeah.
And you lose just about as many games with Hypnospace Outlaw, Killer Queen Black, Stealth Inc. 2, and Titanfall. So interesting to see how effective these partnerships can be on certain months. And it's why I think, Ubisoft Plus, like that should be a play at some point in time.
Yes.
But any games here that you want to point the audience to?
Yeah, you know what? I got to get my behind on that Total War Warhammer and stop fronting.
That's what I hear. I see a lot of write-ins about it.
I need to get on it. I've seen enough. I got to know what's going on. I do. You know what it is? It's just the laziness in me because I love to just game on a big screen TV.
Couch.
I love the couch. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a console gamer at heart. And I just, like, when I'm at my PC, I feel mentally I'm working. Like, this is to work. I don't want to bring games here because that's going to interfere with my productivity. So that's why it's not I'm like I hate on PC. I just don't want to work in the same game space. It's a different mentality. When I'm in the living room, I'm like, all right, God, decompress. Now you got your game, you ready, big. That's what it is. So yes, I want to give it a chance. But another part of me is like, what's up with that console port? Where's that? When is it?
That's how I feel, right? I want to see if Total War Warhammer 3 will make its way to console at some point. Just like there's the rumors of Age of Empire 4 making its way to console. That's another one that I think people will get a good fix on. Yeah, I'm with you. I really want to check it out because a lot of people are like, Maddie, you got to check it out. You got to try it out. I mean, those high scoring reviews, like people are saying the campaign was really good or the set of campaigns, were really good. The combat is awesome. So I'm like, oh, this is kind of speaking my language, but it's again, this is a year of business decisions. You're not going to be the last time you hear me or Cog say it. It's a year of business decisions. And I'm like, this is just not a wise choice for me. I just can't do it. At least day one.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
And not in February.
Yeah, certainly not in February.
Sorry, not in February.
All right, time for Game Pass / Back Compat pick of the week. Yeah. This is what I put some time into this week, but wanted to...
What?
Yeah.
I need to hear about this.
Have you not played this one?
I have started it.
Oh, when did you start it?
This was when it was announced because I wanted to remember I don't want to spoil your pick.
No, please. I just wanted to check.
I was shocked that you did because I'm an origami guy. Like, so when I saw, I'm like, oh, yeah. Because the first one was near and dear to me just because of what they were attempting to do. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of changes. But this is your pick. You talk.
Yeah. No, it's totally fine. So I picked Origami 2 for this week. 3 friends, well, rather me and 2 other friends, downloaded this game for a little 3-player co-op. And I gotta say, man, the gaming ninja better be in on this, but it looks like you already were. I like this game a lot. It definitely was a little buggy in my experience, though. Which makes it an easier download on Game Pass because you're not paying for it and all that stuff. But this is a fun, unique 3-player co-op game because it's all about stealth. They do have melee mechanics that kind of mirror to an extent Sekiro. They don't feel great, and especially for those who are not the host, there will be a little bit of delay, a little bit of lag where stealth should be the priority regardless. But there is no better feeling than, I'm holding up against the wall, friends in a bush, another on the rooftop. We see 3 guards walking their path, and we're going, all right, you got the guy on the left, I got the guy in the bush over here, you get the guy on the right, and you all synchronize it at the right time. No one gets alerted. It's an amazing feeling, man. So it's a great stealth game for those who don't know, which Origami is like this ninja game that has a Destiny-like hub, and it's unnecessarily fun in co-op. It's a lot of things that it looks like it shouldn't be and wouldn't be. But once you download and give it a try, like it's a blast, man. It's a really good time. Again, some jank here or there, some tech issues here or there, definitely some lag. I had a friend who couldn't use their weapons for a whole mission, so we had to complete it without them. I had a friend who fell through a map, so there's some bugs here still. Yeah, and this game came out in September, so I'm guessing that these won't be fixed for a while. But what's there is really fun, and this is a unique co-op experience, not one that's service-based. It's one that's just a good co-op game, and you can play by yourself. You can play by yourself, and I think in some ways it would be, I gotta know if I'm crazy here. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. Have you ever fired up a co-op game and you're like, man, I should be playing this by myself? Because you got to coordinate and your friends are dicking around and you're like, they start messing up and you're like, bro, you're ruining this right now.
Bro, I know what you mean. I am, there's certain games like that where it's about the purity of the experience. And let me tell you how ridiculous I am. It's funny you said it. Sometimes I get that way with Destiny because it's bro, I want to pay attention to the story and you messing around and you're doing foolishness and you're emoting and I'm like, sometimes I like to really immerse.
Yeah.
And if I'm immersed, you're doing this ninja game like Origami 2, right? And to me, this is another reason why I'm glad you picked this. We got to support it. This is the spiritual successor to Tenchu. I don't care what nobody say. These guys, what is it, Lynchwork, I believe, is the name of the studio. They clearly are fans and are inspired by Tenchu, which is a game that doesn't exist anymore. Wait, isn't it part of the Activision thing? I just thought about that. One of them studios that made?
I think so.
We got to look into that. But at the end of the day, it's and I'm so with you because it's that's where the co-op aspect of games sometimes bother me because I only like to play with people co-op that are serious and is what I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, we're gonna listen to the cutscene. We're gonna listen to the story. Or we're gonna coordinate. We're gonna talk. We're like, all right, we're gonna get into it. All right, you gonna murder him. He over by the. But sometimes you got them friends that's like hee ha, and I'm like, no. Not in this experience. I want to be pure with this.
I feel
so
you.
yeah, I am that kid that when I have my favorite toy, don't be messing it up with your foolishness. Like you better get in character because I'm in character.
Bro, dude, I was the type of guy in like high school. I would, there was a trick to appear offline. If you turn on your Xbox, it would automatically connect you to live and it would say like Maddie is online, right? So I'd always disconnect my wireless adapter, turn on the Xbox, appear offline, then connect it, and I play like COD by myself because I just wanted to be in that zone of like sweating or play a typical like Borderlands. I'd open up a secret save file and just play a little bit by myself. I don't know. I guess it's social anxiety 101.
Listen, when it's your highly anticipated games, there are games that it's just a purity to the game. And it's an event. And like I come from there. Solve, if he's listening, he'll appreciate this. We come from the era, like I remember when Resident Evil first came out. It's an event. You turn the lights down. You know what I'm saying? You immerse. Don't bring your foolishness in my party chat. Like I'll kick you. I tell you, I will kick you out. Do not talk. Silence. Otherwise, I will play this I'll tell you, I'll leave the party right now. I'll go by myself. I don't need this. If you're going to interrupt this, there are rules of engagement to this game. That's how much I love it. And if you can't follow the rules, I am fine to go offline and not talk to you.
Yes, exactly that, right? So that's how it was with Arkane too. It was just like, at a certain point, I'm like, this is a great game. And you guys are like, it's not even the story front. Like there's an achievement. I skipped the opening cinematic because I just wanted to get into the gameplay. There's an achievement called, I don't care. And I literally said it as I skipped away. I don't care. I skipped it because I was in a chat with my friends. I was like, I just want to get into the game. I don't care. And they literally popped an achievement called I don't care. It says, you skipped the cinematic. And I went, wow. They're self-aware, I guess, because like the star is the gameplay. Like I wasn't there for the story. The way it's delivered, it's clearly not their focus. It's a fun ninja co-op game or single player game. And I really like it. It's one that you should try out on Game Pass if you have yet to. This was a day one drop. And playing it, I was like, this was one of the sneaky, really good day one drop sticks to Sable that I don't feel I personally gave enough attention to, and I want to highlight them here and now. These are great games that we didn't talk about enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it.
All right, let's move on to our 5 final questions for this week's episode, starting off with Nuclear Prostate. Hey, Dukes. Hope you guys are good. When you guys were younger, how much time did you spend playing games compared to other activities like sports, seeing friends, and other hobbies? Myself, I always thought I was an avid gamer, but looking back, I was probably only doing 10 to 20% of my leisure time. But I guess that's what stuck with me the most. Thanks, and have a grandma got you the game you wanted, but on the wrong console kind of day. Personal. That's personal.
That's personal. He felt that one. Yeah, it's a good question. Percentage of... Back then, my percentage was super high. Like my percentage was probably like
75.
75, yeah. Like, and then the other stuff kind of just waned. But now it's probably 60. It's a fight for the 60 to get the time now. You know what I'm saying? Because the 40 will creep into 50 sometimes. And then it's just like, you're content creating, you're doing this, you're working, whatever. So, yeah, it's tough. It's a fight because I've learned too, what I've had to do is funny, Nuclear Prostate has done this. Sometimes I'll have to break protocol and we call it the blaze night. You about to blaze, ain't you? You about to blaze. I know, like when you have responsibilities, you're supposed to go to bed early. You know it.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
Like,
I'm staying up anyway.
I worked hard this week. I done put up baddies, like I done put out like 4 videos. I did like 6 podcasts. I don't care. I know I'm supposed to be getting up in maybe 6 or 7 hours. I mean, I'm gonna have to get this 3 hours sleep just on this kick. This thing I want to play. And sometimes I know it's counterproductive to health. And we just went through a whole health as well. I know I'm being contradictory. I know, but there are some times as a gamer where it's an event and it's a moment, and mentally you need it because you feel so good. You're like, I'm having so much fun right now. And I don't want this to stop. So it's the balance. It's the game. It's the give and take. So what I usually do if I do have a night like that, I already know what's going to be next week with Destiny. I already know what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
So when that happens, I'm gonna do my blaze. I'm going to get it in. But what I end up doing is to say, okay, you did that. Now, the next rest a couple of days a week, rest, recover, and then you got to get your behind in the gym because you didn't go to the gym or you skipped something that you were supposed to do. So I always pay it back. Yeah. That's my little mental, you have the devil and the angel on your shoulder. Yeah. The devil like, you got to blaze. Come on, baby, this is your game. And the angel's like, all right, you did that, but get your behind and get rest because you're hurting right now. Yeah. And that's my little mental warfare internally.
Yeah, when I was younger, definitely the percentage was super high because, I was king handheld. So even if you were taking me somewhere else, it was right there in my hands. So yeah, I was probably like nearing 80% of my time. Like if I wasn't in school, I was on the games, right? Maybe a little bit less because my parents used to say like no games after dinner, or whatever that did. I don't know. But yeah, I used to not play games after dinner. And, that was the thing that they tried to carry into high school. I was like, Ma, Pop, look, like, come on, this ain't working anymore. Like I'm a young adult now. But yeah, as things progress and you start running a business, if you will, multiple channels, working on a game, and then the personal commitments and relationships and all that stuff, you gotta split it up intelligently. I refuse to ever become like, it's just partially a pride thing, but also like I see it happen way too often. I refuse to become that commentator, podcaster who like obviously does not play a lot of games. They're just busy living their life, but they just talk about games anyway because they've played a lot last month. It's like, no. Like I need to be up to my ears in video games every week at some point. Like I need that. Because I don't feel legit at my job if I'm not doing that. It just doesn't feel right. I like to be in the thick of it. So I'm still making sure I'm playing a lot. And I'd say I'm probably nearing or floating around like when it comes to leisure time, definitely the 50. Because like I spend my leisure time in a lot of different ways now. But yeah, it's definitely changed a lot since I was much younger. That's for sure.
Yes, there's been a shift. Set up the next one. Quick bathroom.
Sure. All right. The next writing comes from, hi, I think I'm real. Hey, gentlemen, when are we going to hear about Avowed? Obsidian revealed its upcoming game during a showcase in summer of 2020. So I feel that we're overdue for some details. Wouldn't you boys agree? Thanks. And I hope you have a get in your car to drive somewhere only to find out your battery's dead kind of day. Well, I remember I went on a date one time and my car battery died and we were just stuck out there till midnight. That shit sucked. But anyway, Avowed. This is one that's really interesting because Avowed is a game that I paraded around with pride. I was like, this is the game you will definitely see at the Game Awards 2021. And what happened? It wasn't there. I don't know why, because again, I always go back to the Xbox Wire post, which they explicitly state, they being Obsidian, we are going to show you the game soon. Well, we're 4 months away from it being 1 year later, and it sure as shit ain't soon. So I'm gonna throw out there a summer showcase, just because it's like this is the thing that's coming after Starfield almost. I feel like it's the show closer for the Xbox showcase, whatever that may be. That or Scalebound, the Scalebound return. But I think about, because to me, it reminds me of what the statement to Redfall was. It's like, this is our new thing. This is our next thing that's coming after our wave of holiday 2021 games that you can look forward to. So I'm hoping that when they wrap up the show, that they're talking future 2023 summer, fall title, and it is Avowed and they actually show it off. But at this point, it's anybody's guess because based off their wording and the timing of their reveal in 2020, it should have been probably late last year. It should have been, but it wasn't. And I'm glad they're not rushing it. But I just feel like it could be at any point. Cog, what about you? Where are you feeling this game will be re-revealed?
Good question. Because we got the Hellblade. When did we just get Hellblade reveal?
That was Game Awards. Last year.
Game Awards last year. Yeah, it's like with 2022, 2023, 2023 gonna be lit.
Yes.
2023 gonna be lit. That's a lot coming. I feel like we should see it, right? Like, I'm biased. Like, I want this game. Like, this is the game I want. Like, this is the Obsidian big budget. Let's go. Like, this is the one for me. So this year is so weird because it's like, you've got the acquisition going on, but it's probably not going to finalize. Bethesda, you figure Xbox Game Studios, some of those projects gotta at least be talked about, right?
And there's a lot of them that are due, right?
Yeah, a lot of them are due to be talked about. Let's start with the initial question. When are we thinking? When are you thinking Avowed is going to release? Do you think it's in 2023? You think it's in 2024?
2023.
Okay, so you say 2023. So if it's 2023, and then the cadence this year, we got Starfield at the end of the year, Redfall at some point, whenever, right? Clearly not Avowed releasing this year. So if we say 2023, then you've got to get it bubbling, right? You got to kind of get the marketing, if it's ready. So maybe you're off by 1 year. That's my guess. Maybe instead of your Game Awards prediction, maybe it's this year we get a Game Awards. And it'll be towards the end of the year. Nice lead into 2023, getting people hyped in the same way that Hellblade got. Because it's a big title. It's a big deal.
Yeah. And you show a Skyrim competitor at
and you show a Skyrim competitor and people go, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. So that's what I'm hoping for. That's my new guess.
That would hurt though for us personally. I couldn't count on both hands the amount of times where we're like, where's Avowed? That we'll say in passing if they wait until the Game Awards to show it off.
I know you will be hurt.
I would be personally struggling. Oh man,
would you want that at E3? I keep saying E3 don't exist, but you know what I mean. The Microsoft Bethesda conference.
Yeah. I feel like that's where you at least give us a peek, right, of the game. Not a full on gameplay debut. Like to me, this summer feels like the moment that you start to take the lid off of everything that the studios you acquired in 2018. Show us what they're up to, because at that point we're moving into half a decade later in the coming year. Their games are scheduled to, at least by reports and what we know from their development cycle so far, to start releasing then. Like we should start to know what they're working on. So to me, it's like, yeah, I think it's time to see what is Obsidian's, not Grounded, no offense to Grounded, Grounded is cool, but like what's Obsidian's Xbox game? Like what is their big budget Xbox game? Now, here's the twist. Remember that there was, thanks to Jeff Grubb, a leak about Josh Sawyer's RPG from Obsidian. So do you show that first? I know that's not going to be on the level, no offense to Josh, that's not going to be on the level of like an Avowed.
Hey, easy. Be careful.
No, I'm talking about budget marketing and stuff. Yeah, like it very well will likely be better than Avowed.
I'm just biased because that's my Disco Elysium clone, so I'm biased.
Of course, and it sounds amazing. So, if they have that as kind of a bullet in the chamber, they go like, we can wait. I think your theory about Game Awards makes a little bit more sense if they got that as like another Obsidian reveal. But I just think it's time to start showing Compulsion. I think it's time to talk about Everwild. And I think it's time to show Obsidian. In Exile, I can wait another year. In Exile did a lot of DLC and support for Wasteland 3. I don't know how far along Cobalt is. I think it's time to show off Contraband in a legitimate way. I think it's time. Like, give us some 2023 games to kind of really lay our eyes on.
You're making some good points because here's the thing. If we go under the assumption that the Microsoft Activision King gets finalized, right? The big aspect we're forgetting is how much content that adds to a Microsoft press conference. And think about the things that we normally don't care about. We just finished talking about how both of us really don't care about COD like that anymore now, but it Game Pass. But think about it. You're going to have to now market COD on your stage. You're going to now, and then shout out to Jez, we're hearing maybe Diablo is closer than people think. You know what I'm saying? So now you got to start again. If let's say 18 months, let's say worst case scenario, top of 2023, deal is finalized. You now have to include Activision Blizzard into your conferences and promote, because even if they're multi-plat, you still got to promote them on your stage. So now it really gets jam-packed on who's ready, who's going to get the time to show. And from what I hear, yeah, like they got stuff is not as far. I don't know about Overwatch, but I mean like Diablo, other things are not as far as people think. So now 2023 becomes even beefier, right? So maybe you're right. Maybe you do have to show Avowed and NXL or maybe Compulsion's projects a bit earlier because you don't want to get lost in the soil. They're going to get to a good problem where they're going to have a lot to release and a lot to show, and they're going to have to figure out the cadence of spreading this out. And I'm curious how they handle that because this is a huge deal. There's so many studios, so many games from Microsoft, Activision King. Again, if it goes through, you got to promote it, multi-platform or not. You have to give the casual the impression that they're on your platform because they got the marketing right.
This is something I'd probably want to lead our next show with as a discussion point, but we should really start entertaining the idea of like a Xbox Direct if this deal goes through with Activision, because they're getting to a point now where they are so big that you just, unless you want to have this 3-hour showcase, which I wouldn't complain about, but I can't imagine after the Keeleys that that's going to be paced out as well. What if they started doing these kind of interspersed shows of like 30 minutes? They're like, we're doing a direct, kind of like Nintendo does, like see it in 2 days, and we're going to talk for 40 minutes about video games that are coming in the first half of 2023. To me, it's like getting to be that time because you've got Bethesda, you've got Activision, they all have all their games, and you can't always go around especially with E3 phasing out, you can't go around the traditional game clock of like your PAXs, your E3s, your Tokyo Game shows, your Game Awards even. Like even it's huge. Like maybe you hold off a Microsoft Direct in the fall because you know the Game Awards are coming, but they need more and more their own show. By the way, not the ID at Xbox show, like their own with the Twitch streamers and shit, their own show. One more time. Their own show.
Damn it, Manny. You going in, but you're right. You ain't wrong. Nah, I feel you, bro. Like, I think my main thing is also, can we get like a top of the year show? Like that's something I feel is rare from them. Everything is always, Microsoft historically always jam-packed from the middle to the end, and it drives me nuts. Like that top of the year, do
the
something.
Hockey stick,
Yeah, like bro, it's so much. Like, so I'm with you. Bring me like a show like that, and this is where I'm gonna throw my slander, not inside that Xbox.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Hey guys, no, I don't want to see no personalities, no hey guys, no
games,
none of that
games.
stuff.
Guy behind the mic, girl behind the mic, whoever.
Yes,
that's dude. Right? Just that's the thing. Like even State of Play, like they at least get the format, the template of what makes Nintendo Direct work. Just they didn't have the content so far to really show that. But like Xbox owns so many studios that I just feel like if we're doing this like Nintendo has gone over a year without doing a direct. Like it doesn't have to be this constant thing.
Right.
But it needs to be, if you're going to have this many studios that are going to need these updates, I think an interspersed show is required at this point. We should talk about this more. I should make a note.
Yeah, I like that. Week. Yeah, make a note for it. Yeah, I definitely want to talk about it more. It's a great point. And I'm just curious about how they view things, because I feel like there's a little bit of stubbornness with Microsoft sometimes in the way they like people like, yo, this is the way you should do it, like they do it, and I always get to feel like, we're Microsoft, we do, and don't get me wrong, I do love the big show, I do love the 2 hours, like you sit me in front of the 2 hours, I love that stuff, but this is a good future discussion. I like this.
Absolutely. So we will definitely get into that. Let's talk with Dan XL next. Hey boys, raise your hands if you have a backlog problem. Be honest with yourselves. Do you ever think you'll finish your backlog one day? I think I'm coming to terms with the fact that I'll never finish mine, but it doesn't mean I'm going to stop grinding. Cheers, and have a CrossfireX got pulled from Game Pass kind of day. Ooh, it was a rough day indeed.
Rough day. Yeah, we got to be real about it. That XL, you ain't finishing that backlog. It's just... Bro, it's just too much. It is literally too. One of the times I actually attack my backlog is like something has to happen to me. Like I have to get like really sick, something like you shut down, and it's just like, okay, you completely not plugged in because of some legit reason, and then it's like, all right, I got time to play games and I can catch up now. You know what I'm saying? That's rare. With our life, bro, full-time gig, website, CEO. Like 3 podcasts, like it's just a lot, you know what I mean? So you never, and then the other thing people forget about the backlog is that then sometimes I get happy when games get delayed. I was like, all right, because I didn't know when I was going to fit you, right? Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is, last year, you know what threw me off? Like games like Disco Elysium, Forgotten City. I'm like, you weren't on the plan. Mm-hmm. Damn, you so good. And I don't want to stop playing you. So I'm going to finish you and forget these other games right now. Like, that's what happens, bro. It's this juggling. You got to, like you said, we got to make business decisions sometimes. And there's games that people are like, I can't believe Coggy didn't play. Well, damn it, Forgotten City was good. What was I supposed to do? Damn it, this game had me. What was I supposed to do? Like, you fall into traps with things that you don't expect. You just fall in love with, and it's a never-ending story, man.
Yeah. I think for me, I'm kind of in the same boat as Dan, where I've just accepted it, right? I've come to the acceptance stage because now I'm trying to diversify the content I consume, where I'm trying to watch a little more TV. I'm trying to watch some more movies, read more books, comics, manga. Like, I'm trying to spread the wealth a little bit here. And it's been great. I've been enjoying everything more since doing that change because I'm not always just gaming for entertainment. You could feel it glancing at times because it's all I did for leisure. So I think that's important to keep them fresh. And I just try to tackle games in like a 2 to 3 amounts. Like, I never load up on like, I'm playing this over here and I'm playing this and I'm playing that and this. Like, it's not like you're playing 5 different games. Because then I'm like, how the hell are you tracking all the stories, characters, developments, controls? Like, there's something that's going to slip through the cracks. Like, 3 is the absolute max. And that's typically through like a hardcore review season. It's like, I was in the middle of something. I'm probably at the tail end of it that I was playing for myself. And 2 games for review just came in. Mm-hmm. In fact, I'm kind of walking into that right now. So those are the rare times, but 2 is typically my number. And I'm all about, like, same thing with video game collecting. Like, I respect video game collectors who are like, I bought Madden 02, 3, 4, 5. I'm like, you're not going to play those. I buy games with the intent of one day I will play them. So my collection's tighter, but I think a lot more high quality, right? So my backlog, to me personally, isn't as intimidating because I know that as I do more research for like Retro Rebound and stuff, I'm discovering shit that I was like, this was made for me and I never heard of it. Well, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to get it. I'm going to add it to the collection. Maybe I'll get around to playing it. Like, it's the modern games I do a good job keeping up with. Especially last year. Last year was fucking easy. There was nothing coming out. Last year was so easy. So it was really, this year is like, I'm starting to feel that. This year reminds me so much of the fall already. Like, back to back to back to back to back to back. And I'm like, oh God, man, here we go. Yeah. Gotta get to work. So, for me, especially, it's like the backlog has always been a problem, always will be. And I just kind of let go of it. It's like some things maybe I will die before I even get to play it. That's okay.
Bro,
I played what I wanted to.
I completely agree with you. You just you have to have that mentality. Last point I'll say is the other problem I have is that, people enjoy, not to brag, but people really enjoy playing games with me, right? Mm-hmm. So they'll Cog, yo, we had so much fun with you on desk. Cog, yo, like right now, I've created a Demio problem.
Oh, no.
When I introduce people to the game, they play it and go, oh my God, I love VR. Oh my God, Cog, we have to do this. So now it's like Demio Saturdays. And Demio's the game you put on the damn headset.
Goodbye, and 4 hours. Yeah.
4 to 5 hours. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I can't believe this much time. I had to turn phone notifications on so that it goes through to my headset so that I know I'm in, I'm still tapped in. Once you go in the Matrix, it's hard to get out. So my thing is, bro, like that, the ritual game, there's games that sometimes we play and they end up, you know what game did that to me last year a little bit too? Was Chivalry 2. I was running around with my friends yelling on the battlefield, seize him! And I was having everybody laughing. We're bugging. We're chopping limbs off. We're doing our medieval thing. There's games that when they become ritual games, your friends then bully you into playing with them. And now your backlog really is not getting any dead.
Multiplayer is the death blow to all backlogs. It really is. I stay so far away from multiplayer. Like even Halo Infinite, I'm like, when the time comes, it's like, you just put it to rest for a little bit. I can't.
Bro, Halo Infinite. Me trying to get samurai 10 right armor, blazing and doing all these challenges all up at a night, secretly offline when I know I should be playing because I'm so addicted. It catches me. It's the ritual multiplayer, and it's tough, man. It's a tough balance, brother.
It is. So best of luck to Dan and any other backlog battlers out there. All right, let's talk to Carter Evanson, who writes in, "Hey, Dukes, I just wanted to ask you guys how you prefer to consume games. Personally, I like to play a couple of games at a time, one being narrative story-based and the other being roguelike, Metroidvania, or platformer. I enjoy doing this because when I want to just turn my brain off and press buttons, I have those gameplay-focused experiences, and when I want to kick my feet back and relax as well. For example, I'm about to juggle between Doom 2016 and Persona 5 Royal. Thanks for helping me get through work every day. Here's to a great show." Thank you, Carter, for writing in. So I kind of answered this already with my 2 to 3 games thing. What about you? How do you digest your games? How many do you play at once? And what kinds?
Too much.
Yeah, you're at 4 on your list this week.
Yeah, bro, it's too much. I'm doing too much. I know I am. But I can't control myself. I mean, how I try to do it now is I try to set Saturday as my ritual game that, for now it's Demio. But, during the week, I consider that selfish cog time. I try to be selfish as much as possible. The problem now is Witch Queen has come back. This is when Destiny's good, I am unproductive. Like, you remember last year with Duke, all the games I was finishing. Guardians of the Galaxy, I bought every spoiler cast, y'all. Guardians of the Galaxy, this one, 12 minutes, sign me up. When Witch Queen happens, I told Colin, by the way, if y'all do a Sifu Sacred Symbols, I'll let you boy.
Yeah.
I'll let you boy. I want to get a part of that.
Absolutely.
But that's probably the last one. It came out right before Witch Queen. But that's what I'm saying. Like, once I get into that, it's hard for me until I get everything done. So, yeah, I'm in trouble.
You might be.
I'm in big trouble. I'm in big trouble. Save me.
But
I'm drowning.
It's wise trouble. You've been excited for this for months, man. I mean, this is enjoy it. Enjoy it while it's here. Have fun. Release yourself.
Be productive.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I play so many games that I'll carry the weight on that one.
I appreciate
I'll bring
it.
the diversity as we make show notes for those who don't know, and every week it'll just say Witch Queen.
It'll say Destiny Witch Queen. I'm telling y'all, for the next 3 weeks, when we get to the games playing, I apologize in advance. It's going to be Destiny 2 Witch Queen, and you're going to have to deal with it. I apologize.
No, that's fine, man. That's fine. How many times have I brought up Trails already in the last month? Because it's just these long JRPGs. I'm like, I'm playing Trails again. Here's an update on that. I'm like, no one knows this series. At least people know your series. So, no, you're good. All right, last question of the show goes to Macro. Evening, Dukes. Maddie's talk of Plaid when discussing your games of the year prompted me to do an Arkane playthrough, since my only experience with them was the first few hours of Dishonored back in 2014. I've now played all 3 Dishonored games and absolutely adore them, but Prey has yet to capture me. As for my question, how would you boys rank Arkane's library, at least their 5 more modern games? Thanks for the good times tainting LSM with a little green. Hope you have a low chaos, but you accidentally blow up a room of guards kind of day. I have a friend who had that happen.
This is so you, because I am the noob to Arkane. I am the fraud to Arkane. I am the guy who's waiting for Deathloop or Game Pass. All I do is play light Dishonored. So I am I haven't played all this time. So I am the rook. So for me, I need to hear this because you don't know, Maddie. I've literally have to become your defender. I am your lawyer these days. All my content creator friends come up and say, "What's up with your man? He's wild disrespectful. He is wild disrespectful to Deathloop. It cannot clearly, it cannot clearly be the worst game as he says." You know what I'm saying? Then I got my boy Bontis. "Yo, what's up? I love Deathloop. That's the greatest." And I'm like, he like it, but not like that. He don't think it's, I'm trying to explain to them, and they like, come on.
You're like my agent.
Yeah, the only one that kind of understands you and don't go hard is Attic. Attic be like, nah, I get him. You know what I'm saying? I do get, because I always use the Fallout 3 to Fallout 4 comparison. The Attic says, no. I understand when core mechanics get taken away or why you love something and then things get dumbed down and it's lessened. I get it. So I'm here for you for this, because you are the master of Arkane. You played all their games. You tell me what this ranking is.
I've just enjoyed a nice couple of months of peace and quiet away from the Deathloop conversation. I'm sure the audience is feeling the same. Oh, he's talking about something else finally. This is tough because there's Arkane games that I have a lot of nostalgia for, like the first Dishonored, that for me, I think of every time I think of Arkane. That was my my awakening moment where I was like, yo, they're built different, man. But I don't know if I could say it's really the greatest Arkane game. I think the greatest one is Dishonored 2. I mean, Dishonored 2 is the best Arkane game in my eyes because of the amount of choice that these games give you. Like, they're excellent stealth games at their heart. They really don't need choice. They give you a fun enough tool set to explore these wide open areas that are dense, rich, with side content to explore. And I love the interactions. Like, you can find a cup and pick it up and you could sell it at a thrift shop or whatever. I love that shit. Like, that speaks to me. Like, I'm a Bethesda Game Studios fan. Like, I love tinkering with things in the world space. Like, that's my shit. And so when you're a thief and you're like picking things off and selling them,
little red icon.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
I love that
so,
too. Yeah.
Dishonored 2 already has all of that, just like the first game, but it's in a much bigger environment space. They have some of the most complex level design you can ever find in a modern video game. And what's crazy, I don't even know how they pitched this game design, because then you've got not only two playable characters that explore the world totally differently with different power sets, but there's also high chaos and low chaos. So there's multiple endings for both of them and how they'll play out. So it not only embraces your play style and your builds, but the game shapes around them, literally. I think it's a pinnacle of excellent stealth, action, adventure design, level design. Like, it is one of the best games of the last generation. I stand by that. And it's a sin that game got dragged as hard as it did because of that bad frame rate on PC. I know there were other issues. I get that, but this game was it reminds me in a couple ways of Cyberpunk. I'm like, Cyberpunk was broken though, but I'm saying like the mindset of this is so good that we should still be fighting for, like, we need to make this playable, not because it's just a broken piece of shit. Let's shit on it. Like, we need to fight for this because it's a good game. Like, it's a good game. And so Dishonored 2, top of the list.
Let's go with number 2.
Prey Moon Crash. Not Prey. Prey Moon Crash. Your face.
I'm shocked by this. I thought it was going to be Prey was a slam dunk. What?
Prey Moon Crash taught me the beauty of AAA roguelike design. And if you like Deathloop, it already existed.
Ooh, shots fired.
I'm just letting everyone know, because Prey was already a bomb of a game. And I imagine not many played the big expansion Moon Crash. Moon Crash is AAA roguelike design. You have multiple character classes you can play as. It's the one reason I've got some faith in Redfall, because they realized they got something there. They tried to build the game off of it with Deathloop, and I think made a watered down version of it. But in Prey Moon Crash, when you got those multiple classes, you're gradually going through these handcrafted levels that the procedural elements are the enemies and the loot, not necessarily the storytelling and the environments that you crawl through, which is a big difference maker for me. I never liked procedural generation because I like to memorize the map, the patterns, see the world that's actually there. And that's the case here. But everything that's occurring within it will be changing, which makes sense based off the themes of Prey. And so it's this amazingly designed expansion that just blew me away when I played it, especially because you talked about events, about moments, Cog. To me, this was one of those events. I was like, no one's playing this. You feel like you're in a capsule as you're playing it. You're like, no one's talking about this. So just, again, immense replayability, but very unique in design. One of the most different style games and one of the best expansion / DLC pieces of content you can get in gaming. Like, to me, it's right there next to Burial at Sea, which is my favorite DLC of all time. So shout out to Prey Moon Crash. Then Dishonored 1. Dishonored 1. Okay. Classic Arkane here. Okay. This is where nostalgia plays a factor. Once I get into number 4, I'll talk about why that's a factor. But to me, Dishonored 1, this is the heartbeat of Arkane. It's the moment they went on the map. It's got a lot of the elements I talked about in Dishonored 2, but I think Dishonored 2 does them bigger and better, which is what a sequel should do. But it never disrespects the original. The original still stands the test of time. It's a great way to get into what Arkane games are. The level design's a little bit tighter, a couple more loading screens, but thanks to next-gen back compat and the definitive editions that are out, they run a lot better. They load quicker, so you're good on that front. But these are great games, all 3 of these. And so Dishonored 1, just a lot of great memories baked into it. A game that I replayed at least 10 times. It's a quick game if you really know what you're doing there. But it was just an introduction to all the elements that I loved so much in Dishonored 2 that were then built upon in the most intelligent ways, I felt.
Dope. The OG.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Prey. Prey would probably be number 3 if I was
comes.
being like a hard, critic, right? Like really getting my critic suit on. I'm not though, right? Like I'm letting nostalgia play a factor here. Prey is a really good game. I thought the illusion of choice was very frustrating because prior to Prey, Dishonored 2, Dishonored 1, these games did have choice and consequence, like legitimate ones. And when you had Chris Avellone in the building, right in Prey, I was like, yo, this is, oh my God, like this couldn't be better. Prey's a well-written game, but without spoiling it, at the ending, they make all your choices count for nothing. That greatly frustrated me. But again, we have an interconnected space station that reacts to your gameplay. As you embrace the Typhon abilities more and more, it becomes more difficult, but you get cooler powers. I like when a game reacts in that way. So there's still a reactivity. It wasn't in the way that I personally prefer, but that doesn't make it bad. It's just not one that I'm super crazy about, but still a great game and an unsung hidden gem that continues to be underappreciated. Number 5. We're not there yet. Dishonored, Death of the Outsider. Yeah, we're not there yet. Don't worry. Dishonored, Death of the Outsider. Dishonored, Death of the Outsider. I could not say that was the worst Arkane game. Okay, because this is another great entry point. While it's the wrap up of the Dishonored story, it's the one Dishonored game that I think had a strong narrative. It's this story about the outsider, about I think Billy. Oh, I'm forgetting her name. Billy something. And they removed the chaos system. I didn't like that too much, but it allows you to learn the mechanics of a Dishonored game much more without the consequence, like our write-in from Marco highlights about the low chaos, accidentally blowing someone up and going, oh, great, now I'm high chaos. It does get rid of that dynamic element there that's so consequential to you. But it's a tight story-based game. 5-6 hours, you can beat it in a night. I actually remember when I reviewed it. I sat down, they gave me the review code. They're like, yeah, the embargo's tomorrow. And no one had the review out. And I was like, fuck it. Like, this is a quick game. And I beat it. I was like, well, I guess I'll make my review now because I can hit the embargo time for it. Cool memory there. But otherwise, not the Arkane game that'll blow your socks off. Not the most reactive world, but it's a $20 game, a budget title. And it doesn't necessarily always feel budget. Or I think it was 30. But this is during a time where Bethesda was doing like Old Blood. They were doing Death of the Outside. Okay. They were trying these small, not expansions, but spin-off titles. And I thought it was a good one. I guess to last place.
Yeah, there's one that's where we at with
this. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
Deathloop is the worst Arkane game. Oh. Yeah, surprise. I'm sorry. Arkane's never made in my eyes, a bad video game.
Okay, so we got that out.
So your friends are going to contact my agent now. Or yes. I don't think I made it clear too. Like in my review, I don't know. I don't think many people watch my review because right away I'm just like, oh, I like it. But
Maddie, this is how they come for me. They say your boy, your fellow Duke, said it was the worst game he played in last year.
Yeah,
and they did not let it go.
Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. I'm weaponizing my power for the right things. Is what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing.
I love it.
Yes, it was the worst game I played last year. But the reason I said that is because in that list, see, that's the thing. I know your friends. They're looking at the thumbnails. They're not watching the content. Because right away, I say in the beginning, I'm like, I didn't play Balan Wonderworld. I don't waste my time with that shit. I didn't play GTA Trilogy. I said, this is the games that I played this year. And I said, not only was it just the worst, I said, this is also the most disappointing games. And I always say that in my list. I think it's in the title, worst/most disappointing. Because Deathloop was mega disappointing. It was a low point in an Arkane history that was untouchable to me. I was like, this is so barren compared to everything they made. Please raise your hand. Yes.
So, in your eye, this scarred the legacy of Arkane.
Oh, just watch it individually? No.
Okay.
No, because again, the AI didn't work. Like there was stuff that was fundamentally wrong about the game. The levels weren't interesting to explore. Like they weren't as open. They were very narrow. You couldn't go in many buildings.
Can't wait to play this game.
I guarantee you'll like it because like there's a charm to the dialogue, the story. But like, yeah, to me, like it was just an inferior product compared to their legacy. But even on its own, like I just feel like there were actual legitimate issues with the game. issues that were defended, saying like the AI is supposed to be dumb. And then their first patch, the first thing they note in the gameplay is we have improved the AI based off feedback. It's like, wow, it might have actually been a broken game to some extent. I don't know. But yeah, I've gone on ad nauseum about Deathloop. I tried to spare the audience, but yes, that would be my final place in the Arkane rankings. I haven't played Arx Fatalis though, and apparently that's really good. So maybe Deathloop will move down to number 7. Who knows?
The disrespect.
No.
Jesus.
Arkane will never ever come on our show because of me. I've accepted that. They will.
No, wait, didn't the dev respond to you?
The director did respond to me. He said he liked my review. So no offense, Cog, to your friends. No offense to anyone who's made videos about me. I don't really care because the game director, the guy who led the whole experience, watched my review and said, he was like, hey, man, I really like this. I felt you pointed out some interesting things. I like when the devs are receptive. Mission accomplished for me. That's all there was to it. Doesn't have to follow my lead, but that it's accounted for is an honor and appreciated. And honestly, half the time I beat the drum because people are trying to beat me over the head with me being wrong. So I'm like, okay, I'll come back twice as hard now. But that's what matters to me, not what whoever the fuck has to say something about me.
Facts.
Yeah. So
no. I got to give you that. And last thing I'll say is just that, I love that you said that because when it's something I'm passionate about and I feel there was a misstep or direction change, then I like if they actually listening, that means they valued your opinion. They know that you're not just clickbaiting or doing it. You really gave the reasons as to why you feel that way. And then hopefully they take that feedback. So with an eventual Deathloop 2, you get what we want. So
yeah, and look, I've been there on the other side. Like when I released my Fallout 76 review after playing it for like almost 3 weeks, way after everyone had released their reviews, which were clearly rushed. They didn't see all the content. Like I played it all the way through, saw it all out, and I ripped that game apart. And like Bethesda completely cut me off. Like they just stopped talking to me. Like I am on a completely different. Not that I want a relationship with them, but my relationship with them changed fundamentally with that review. So I've been on the other side where like. And I took it personally and they cut you off. And it's like, I don't think that's a mature way of handling it. Because I took the time to play it, see it out, give it a really fair shake when we had the canvas bag shortage of 2018 or whatever the hell that game came out in. But, I've been on the side where you get cut off from your reviews. PlayStation, they cut me off. They haven't responded to me in years. I still try, but they haven't responded to me in years. So it's like I've been on the other side. So I respect the hell out of Arkane and Dingabakaba for actually being like, yo, not only am I going to respond to you, like not in an email where we can have like a conversation privately, publicly. And I'm sure it's easier when you're getting rained with tens, but you didn't have to do it. So to me, that's what matters is like I'm there for the consumer to inform them on here's my opinion, here's how I feel about the game, and I'm there for the dev to be like, here's what I thought you did well. Here's what you could do better. Here's what needs to change, whether it be in a patch or a future entry is up to you. So.
No, absolutely. Well said. And that's why we respect you. That's why your reviews are super high quality. I always watch your videos. And that's what it's about. Because at the end of the day, look, we of course, in a perfect world, we all would love to have relationships, but I've been there too, where it's just like, they didn't like what I said, and now they don't want to deal with me. And it's just like, all right, but what's the motto? I'm telling you what you want to hear, what you need to hear. So I always tell people, are you sure you want to ask me something? Because I'm going to say it,
Yeah.
And that's it. So I respect it.
I do apologize, though, because I picked this question. I thought for some reason you had played at least a couple where I wouldn't have just been me on a tangent for the last 15 minutes.
I wanted this. I was all about this. This is what I was like, oh, this is great. I wanted to hear all this because I'm all about this. Because I know how much you love Arkane. This is great.
It's a flannel moment, man. It's a flannel moment.
It's a flat. There you go.
Yeah. So thank you for tolerating me. Thank you to the audience for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Defining Duke. Next week is episode 60. We're 60% of the way to episode 100. So pretty exciting. We're moving on in our lives. Cog, any closing thoughts here? Or shall we just pick the hashtag?
Yeah, not much. I mean, fantastic show as always. Had a lot of fun. Let's get to this hashtag, man. Let's get to this hashtag. A lot of good ones. We had the Monsters Den.
Oh, I got one.
Yeah. Ooh,
For sale, DD.
I like it because I was going to lean towards platinum situation. So I was gonna flip off that 80. Yeah,
I thought begging. I'm like, that's a little disrespectful. I was like, well, let's do for sale, baby.
For sale. We available.
Yeah,
we are
available. So if you got this deep, you want to let us know, give us some feedback on the episode. Use the hashtag for sale DD. Tag at G27status, at Lord Cognito. Let us know what you thought, good or bad. We're willing to have a conversation with you. Of course, the general consensus at these hashtag conversations has been thumbs up. Right? We have yet to have someone who listened this deep and went, that show sucked. So we're at a pretty good rate right now. And I do look, I click on the hashtag every time. I'm like, who else is writing this? Let's see what they're saying. But
they be writing it. They be religious with it too.
Oh yeah, and we get people who like write in weeks later and they're like, sorry, I'm
weeks
late.
later on an old hashtag.
I love that. That's dedication. I love that. So thank you everyone who contacts us. And if you're not in on Twitter, that's fine. I definitely understand that. So right away in the comments, on the Patreon comments, YouTube comments, hashtag for sale DD, give us your thoughts. And with that, Cog, it's time for us to sign out until episode 60 of Defining Duke and Xbox podcast. Everyone take decent care of yourselves, and we'll catch all of you next week. Peace out.
Peace.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Colin's Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.